I had already shot people. I had already killed like 2 or 3. This was not for money. This was for fun. Here in Colombia, yeah, I could kill anybody. No, nobody talks. It was the law of silence. So when you're a killer and you see some other guy that he's got cold blood, you can feel it. Somebody can say, hey, that guy killed my dad, and they'll come and shoot me in my head, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Alex Vargas is a former Colombian hitman with one of the craziest life stories I've ever heard. He was born in Cali, Colombia, but raised in the slums of Fort Lauderdale, Florida in the 1980s, where he was a gangbanger and a delinquent pretty much from the beginning. After serving time for shooting a cop while he was still a teenager, Alex got deported back to Colombia, where he worked in cocaine laboratories as a heroin mule, and then as a Sicario, a hitman for one of the most powerful drug bosses of the Cali Cartel, the largest cocaine cartel in the history of the world. He went in and out of drug addiction and at one point was sleeping on the streets of Cali. He also served time in a bloody maximum security prison in Ecuador, which is one of the most violent in South America. Today, he's clean and sober, has his family back, and works as an English instructor at an elite English school here in Cali, Colombia. If you know anyone who needs English lessons, not just in Colombia, but anywhere in the world, we're gonna put the link to Alex's information in the description of this episode. And for more behind-the-scenes footage of our time here in Colombia, make sure to check out that Patreon, patreon.com/theconnectshow. All right, guys, this is one for the history books. Alex Vargas, right here on The Connect with Johnny Mitchell. How ironic is that your mother, to keep you safe from gangs and trouble in the 1980s, sent you to Colombia for the summers?
Exactly, because she thought that I would be better off here with my dad. But my dad, he's got his own personal story. As a matter of fact, people have told me that my dad used to be in the guerrilla when he was younger in those days. As a matter of fact, a long time ago, I remember we were in the house and we were kids, and I remember cops barged in that time it was called F2. F2 it's like, have you heard of the DAS?
Yeah.
F2 is like before the DAS, and they were some bad, and they would just come looking for you and they would kill you.
The cops.
Yeah, the cops. They were going to bust you, but they would kill you because they wanted to get rid of the problem from the root.
Right.
So there is a story where we remember that my dad was there and he just escaped.
Yeah.
And they found guns there and everything, but he got away.
So you were 2, you were born in Cali, and when you're 2 years old, your mom leaves your dad?
Yeah, exactly. They got separated because the story before we were even born is the story that goes around, because I have some half brothers here, and the story is that my dad fell in love with my mom. So some say that his first wife was cheating on him. Some say that he killed his first wife to marry my mother. But what we do know is that they found that first wife, they found her in a you call it a potrero. That's like a little, I don't know how the hell you would say that in English because I've never seen them. It's like a little village area or a little rural village area where you only find cows and mountains and this and that.
Wow.
But they found her over there with no ears and no nipples. Dead.
That is some old world village.
Yeah.
Sick stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you have that in you, that
exactly.
criminality
So
comes from your father.
Exactly. That criminality could have, it could be it could be genetical.
Yeah.
Because even though my mom tried to do her best job in the States and we grew up in gangs, we were ruthless in gangs because it's 3 of us. I told you we're 3 brothers. As a matter of fact, my brother got the day off on Sunday because he thought I was going to have the interview on Sunday and he was just going to come and chill with us.
Yeah.
Right.
So you guys all end up getting deported eventually, right?
Yeah. I got repatriated.
Yeah.
What's
the difference?
The difference is that I was already sentenced for attempted murder on a cop. I was already sentenced for a prison term. And then they came up to me and gave me the opportunity after I served a 5-year sentence, and they were repatriating Colombians, which I had told you about that.
Right.
And I'll tell you again if you need to. So they started repatriating because the drug dealers needed a way. Drug dealers in Colombia, they pay off everything and they don't pay jail time.
Mm-hmm.
And if people don't take money, then they kill them. It's either money or bullet. Yeah. That's what Pablo Escobar used to say. Mm-hmm. Plata o plomo.
But how did that involve you Colombians getting repatriated?
Exactly. So then the Colombians in the States, since they were already in the States, then what they did is they influenced the government here in Colombia. I imagine they paid them off or threatened them. Who knows what the hell they did? But the Colombian government convinced the American government that that it was against human rights for these prisoners to be doing their time over there. They couldn't get no visits, no family because they were young. So they asked for them to be able to come to Colombia and serve their prison time here. That way their family could visit them and all that crap.
Right.
So they started repatriating Colombians here to do that. But
Yeah.
once the Colombians came here, then the government just said, hey, you didn't commit a crime in our country.
Yeah.
So you're free.
Go commit crime.
Yeah, go continue trafficking and
Okay.
give us more money.
So, right.
So they threw me, since I was a native Colombian and born here, then they gave me that job. But at first it was for just drug dealers, for drug crimes. It was not possible to get that done for violent crime.
Right.
But, they just wanted to get rid of another. So before they knew it, they dropped my charges from attempted murder on a Leo to resisting arrest with armed violence.
Okay. Tell us about what happened to catch your case. So you grew up in Florida. You're born in Cali, Colombia. You come, your mom brings you and your brothers to
Sunrise Boulevard, to be more exact, Broward County.
Okay. Oh, it's hood.
Yeah,
it's
the
still
hood.
tons of like parks. But
Yeah.
Broward County is one of the sketchiest zip codes in America. And you're there in the 80s.
Yeah,
The
I
late
didn't
70s
even know
and
that.
80s.
You see, so I'm right.
Yeah, you were right. Exactly. Spot on.
No wonder.
So what was like the gang life? Tell us about the gang life. And
So the gang life, we grew up there in gangs. My brother was the first one to join the gang, the oldest brother. He joined the gang called Spanish Cobras. And then from there, we started joining the gang, which was called Folk Nation, this one here, which is very known in the States, Folk Nation.
I've heard of them.
We fight against the Latin, we hate the Latin Kings. Latin Kings are like more known because of the name, but Latin Disciples is the ones that, in other words, we're with the blue and black gang, like with the Crips kind of chat in that area. And the other gangs that we fought against were like in the Latin Kings. They were gold and black, red and black, those kind of colors. Okay. So growing up in street gangs, well, it was three brothers. So we were bad. Because why? Because, if you are willing to die for one of your homeboys, what are you going to do for your brother? So imagine three brothers in the same gang. When somebody did something, the three of us went to him. So you didn't have a problem with one guy. You had a problem with three guys. So we were bad. And then after that, we had the reputation. In that day, it was all about people talking. So we would find out that in North Lauderdale, some kids in school were talking about the Folk Nation, and this and that. And we would find out from the girls. The girls are the ones that always did that crap because girls were always looking for gang members and this and that. So girls would come and tell us, oh yeah, you see this guy here, he's always dishing you guys and this and that. So we would go to that school and those guys up or shoot them or stab them, whatever. We were very young, so we weren't still killing them. We were just stabbing, beating up, and going out, like, I don't know, in those days, the teenagers, you would go out in the street and look for trouble. And then somebody look at you wrong, you would beat them up or you would shoot them up or whatever. Then you started growing into that gang. Then you started doing drive-by shootings. Then you would start getting doped up always with weed. And then you would go and start looking for people to shoot from the other gang. And then you would do drive-bys, like the normal gang history in the States.
So you were gangbanging like a black guy from South Central.
Exactly.
As a Colombian in Florida.
As a matter of fact, we joined our own little chapter, and it was called Colombian. It was called Colombian. Oh, I forgot now. It was we had Colombian Latin Disciples, and then we had Colombian Reyes. I remember we had some type of sign like it was like Colombian. I don't remember it that much. Something like that. Colombian Reyes.
Right.
And we were just called Colombians because the majority of our gang were all from Colombia, but they were not. In other words, they were like us. They grew, maybe they were born in Colombia or they grew up in Colombia or for some reason they were from Colombian family. But the majority of that family in those days, they were drug traffickers. So their parents were drug traffickers, their uncles were drug traffickers, somebody was in prison. So we were like we wanted to be like them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very immature, obviously, and all that crap. But then we started going deeper. Now we were stealing car radios. I remember we used to go just just down the street when you could steal a car radio like in 20 seconds. You would just go to the back of a window car with the damn screwdriver. You get that little window. Then you go in with your elbow, put your hand in there, unlock the door, and then from the back seat you would stretch over there to the radio, pop, pop, and then you had the radio and you were gone. And we would do that down the street with like 7 or 8 cars. And by the time we finished the neighborhood, we had like 20 or 30 radios.
Right.
And then we would go straight to this guy. His name was, what was his name? Ronnie, I forgot his name. He was from the hood, and we would take him all the crap. And he sold cars. He sold cars and coke and guns. That was his little deal.
Yeah.
So we started getting cars. I mean, we all had caddies. And that time we had caddies like like the black guys. We had Cadillacs. We didn't even have a driver's license, but we had Cadillacs.
Right.
And this guy would do everything so we could get the car.
Yeah.
And then we started doing armed robberies. Then in my case, my brothers continued doing all that crap and this and that, but I started going a different way. I started getting in with the big time armed robbers. They chose me because I had a lot of heart, and I mean, I was really good at what I did, and you know, I never worried about I was just like a bullet, with no stopping. So these bigger guys started getting me. I remember the Cubans at that time. The Marielito started coming from Cuba, and they started putting the crime rate up in Miami. And then there were a lot of gangs of Cubans stealing, and
drug dealers.
and they would always come and look for me because I was bad, because I was young and bad. I mean, while they would drive up and start like saying, okay, should we go and get that guy? And they would drive these other Cubans with these big gold chains and that they were like crackheads and sold crack. So I was always young, and I was like, come on, man, let's stop wasting our time. It's better just to do it at once before the cops come and they call in and suspicious. So I would just...
So they would hesitate, but you never hesitated.
Exactly. I would just jump out the car and boom, ready. I'd be boom, 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 and I'd just do what I had to do. Then they would come with me, and then we would go to that night to shoot pool and celebrate. They would be doing coke. Yeah. I was just a jitterbug, and I was doing the same thing. Then at one point, I remember I started living in a house with one of these damn Cubans that sold crack. And I don't remember too much, but I do remember he used to sell crack a lot to women. And as a gang member, he had me go with these girls, and that's when I tried crack for the first time.
Yeah, you didn't snort crack, you smoked it.
Yeah, I smoked it.
Yeah.
I did coke normally, like a normal Colombian, and that didn't faze me, didn't do anything. It was just like something, because when you're young, you're not hooked yet.
How did crack compare to basuco?
No, crack is bad. I mean, crack is bad, and
But all we've seen since we've been in Colombia and Medellin and now in Cali are basuco communities that look like zombie zones.
Yeah.
Probably worse than the fentanyl zones.
Like what we saw today,
in
kind
America.
of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you've been addicted to both.
Yeah.
So how would you compare the rush from crack to the rush from basuco? Like, what are the differences?
The crack is way more, and I'm going to tell you why. Right. But when I was in the States doing the crack deal, I wasn't addicted to. Yeah, I probably was addicted to it, but I didn't feel like I was addicted to it because I wasn't, stealing and fiending in the floor for a rock.
You weren't a junkie yet.
I was just, doing the normal deal. So as a matter of fact, I remember this guy, he pissed me off one time because he had me screwing these women smoking crack. And one day he treated me like, so one day my brother got out of prison. And so so he told me, hey, I just got out. What can I do? Help me out. I said, oh, don't worry about it. That guy was taking a shower, and I remember I took his 2 pistols. I took a can like that full of crack rocks. I'm talking about like that. And I took all his money and stole his car.
Wow.
To pick up my brother. And that day I shot some over there.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pain in the ass. But what's the difference? The difference is very simple. Basuco is the garbage that is scraped. Are we filming? No. Okay. Basuco is the garbage that we scrape from what is left over when they are crystallizing the cocaine, for example. Okay, that's the garbage. That's what they made Basuco out of it. They put bricks in that crap. I mean, it's just some total. Unless you get it like from the Putumayo where they sell base. Base is the closest thing you're gonna get to crack. Okay, because but it hasn't been processed with baking soda or ammonia yet.
Right.
In the States, they do it with ammonia. That's how they make the crack.
Yeah.
Okay, but the crack that they make in the States comes from a kilo that came from Colombia that is 100%.
Right.
So it's very, in other words, crack is like high class basuco.
Right. It's
That's what it
cleaner
is.
than
It's
basuco.
cleaner. Yeah, it's pure.
Right.
And it, of course, when you hit one of them little $5 rocks, it's like smoking 5 papeletas of basuco in just one time.
Right.
Boom.
Right.
So people get hooked on really bad.
True Classic, folks. I'm wearing them right now. No surprise. If you see me on a podcast, if you come see me live at a show or out just walking around in the world, odds are that I am wearing a True Classic shirt. I became a customer of theirs when they started sponsoring this show months and months ago. They are the only t-shirt company that I use. Seriously, it's the only t-shirt I've been able to find that fits perfectly to my body. I hate those shirts that kind of like flower out at the back. It looks like you're wearing a dress. This is like, it feels like it was stitched at a tailor, okay? It conforms perfectly to my body. It makes me look good, makes me feel good. I cannot recommend True Classic enough. And other people agree with me, okay? True Classic has sold over 25 million t-shirts with more than 5 million customers, and they have 200,000 five-star reviews, okay? No bunching, no stiff fabric, no BS, just a clean, effortless fit that actually works for real life. That is true. True Classic is built for comfort, built to last, and built to give back. And True Classic has grown from a fledgling startup to an established t-shirt brand. You can find them on Amazon, at Target, Costco, Sam Clubs, other big box stores. But I recommend going to trueclassic.com/connect to pick out your colors, your looks, etc. They got something for everybody, dude. I buy athletic wear from them. I buy podcasting t-shirts and casual shirts that you can wear out on a date. They have collared shirts if you want to like really look fly. People DM me when I wear like a cool True Classic shirt on the show for episodes. They're like, hey, where'd you get that, man? I'm like, trueclassic.com/connect. Guys, do it up. I love True Classic. Thank you for sponsoring the show.
So you're only a teenager, like 15, 16.
Yeah.
You said you were coming back to Colombia.
We were going back and forth.
Were you getting involved in criminal activity when you would come down here?
Yes,
Seriously?
because when I came down here, my cousins, they were hitmen, and they were in with the mafia. So
where?
In Pereira. In Pereira. Pereira is near Medellin. Have you heard of Pereira?
I've been to Pereira.
Okay, to Dos Quebradas. Pereira, they were in that turf, in that area. They were in Pereira and like Armenia kind of also. In that little areas they were. And and the one you don't even think about, Cartago. Cartago Valle, which is real near Pereira. Have you heard of Cartago Valle?
No.
That's where the North del Valle, Cartel, that's their area. Cartago is this place has never been raided. It's like an old school, and it still exists.
Yeah.
It's like they really handled that little village there.
Right.
Anyways, they were from that area.
And they were active hitmen.
Yeah, they were active hitmen. And I was an active coming from gangs
Right.
in the States. I had already shot people. I had already killed like 2 or 3. Not like because they hired me to kill them, but maybe in a drive-by or maybe some kids in a corner, I shot them up and then I found out one of them died.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay.
Right.
And when I came to Colombia, so I started hanging out with my cousins.
Yeah.
And everything first happened because my dad, he left my mom for the maid and he was screwing the maid, and the maid was a real bitch. She was cool, but the maid was taking advantage of my dad because he was older. I mean, she was like, like 18, maybe him like 40 or 45, something like that. But she had grown already. She had another child, another stepsister that I had. But she was always manipulating his money. And in other words, my dad was whipped.
Yeah.
And just like taking care of the family. So that really offended us. And he was treating some cousins bad. So we just said, we're going to put a hit on my dad. We're not going to kill my dad, but we are going to rob the shit out of him. And so we planned that out with Gonzalo, which is a priest now, this guy, but he killed left and right. And we planned this, him and I, like the most ruthless cousins of all.
Yeah.
One of my half brothers took my dad, he called him and said, hey, we were going to make a deal, and made him go to that downtown. So then I arrived to the house, and we tied the bitch up. We stole everything. We stole like millions of pesos, all his jewelry, all his money. We did, and then we went on a run. And then my dad started getting the DAS to find us, to kill us. And they did catch us at the end, and they put us in prison, in jail, in the Pereira jail, and then they sent us to Bogota, and we even came out in the newspaper, Los Águilas Negras, they told us. No, Ángeles Negros, because they caught us, they busted us all dressed in black, like the men in black. So my dad was trying to get us killed by these people, but they didn't kill us because we had hidden the majority of the merchandise that we stole from him. Not drugs, it was like electronic, what he worked with.
Was he a drug dealer?
No, my dad, I don't know about that because I don't think he ever messed with drugs. I never really saw any of that, but who knows?
Yeah.
I think from what I've heard, he was more of a weapon dealer.
Okay.
He was into weapons and all that crap. He would bring weapons from Ecuador and sell them, and something like that is what he was in. So this guy, Gonzalo, and I had a competition for killing. That picture that you saw that I was with a 45, that was in that time.
Okay.
In that time, nobody would have a gun that big.
Right.
It was impossible.
Are we talking about like 84?
Yeah,
85?
something like 80, like 85, 86, something like that.
So you would actually commit murders on like your summer vacation, or whenever your mom would send you from
I would come here
Florida
and
to
tell, because I mean in the States you have the police up the ass and it was difficult, but here in Colombia, I could kill anybody.
How did you get work? Who hired you?
No. This was not for money. This was for fun. This was for fun and just to kill, and we would do our own little vueltas. In other words, we would go and we would go and do some hit and kill some people, or basically my cousin was the one that had some types of contracts. I would just go and kill, and then after that we would in that time it was el M19 what this Petros in M19, and they were there in Pereira. They were in control. So we would go, and I remember he had a friend that was in the M19, and in that time in Pereira there was a street full of little bars where people just go drink, and the majority of the people that went to drink there were guerrilla people, hitmen, and not drug dealers, because the big drug dealers, the cops, they're in their own area.
Yeah.
The people that work for them, the hitmen, the people that drive them around, the other. That's where they go and celebrate and drink. It's like a real sleazy area where people go and drink. So the idea there was to go and kill. We would drink, and then I remember one time we were, and that's where I learned to smoke basuco at that time. Because that cousin used to smoke basuco, but not the pipe deal.
Yeah.
They put them in cigarettes. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they put them inside cigarettes. It's called a pistolo, and when they smoke that crap, they like it. Yeah. They like it, and then after we were all drugged, he was like, he said he needed to always kill somebody, because he always had a little 25, and he would practice at home. He would go there and then he would just turn around. I remember and shoot and this and that. He was good. This with a 25, he would just, before you know, he would just boom, and just with one shot he would get you in the heart.
And this is Gustavo, who's now a priest.
No, yeah, his name is Gonzalo. Gonzalo, yeah, he became a priest. I don't know. I don't believe him, but
that's what we spoke about before the episode, was how normalized it is to be in Colombia and be hanging out with people like you, and people that we've been recording with since I've been here. They have hundreds, maybe thousands of bodies on them, but they've changed and life goes on, and now they made it. I might have a job. But this doesn't exist in America because it just doesn't. Especially now, you're going to jail or you're going to end up dead yourself.
Yeah. And you're screwed with a number and nobody hires you and all that bullshit.
Exactly.
No, that doesn't happen. Here's a whole different scenario.
It's like there doesn't seem to be much deterrent for killing people, even today.
Yeah. It's a whole different scenario. Now, as far as we used to have like a little competition. Like I told you, that street was full of bars here and there. And I remember one time we were here and he killed the guy because the guy The guy came over with beers and slammed the beer on our table and spit on the. No. That was that guy I killed. I don't know. He did something on the table with a beer, so my cousin just killed him. After he killed him, I remember when we used to go there, they would put a song that's called La Banda del Carro Rojo. Dice que venían de Cali en un carro colorado. Traían 100 kilos de coca para Nueva York y Chicago. Así lo dijo el soplón. Have you heard it?
No, but that's a great tune.
Que los habían denunciado. And then they end up killing everybody. Every time, and this was a famous song. And every time we got to the bars, because this guy was a ladies' man. So all the hookers and all these bitches in these bars, they would love him. So every time we went into any of these bars, they would put that song for us, and that would just inflate our ego, and we knew we were killers, and we had guns, and I had a 45. I mean, nobody had a 45 like that. Gun. Only high guerrilla people or very high military people would have this gun.
Right.
But I had it. As a matter of fact, I bought it from a military guy.
So you killed a guy with a 45?
Yeah, I'll tell you about that one. So first he killed that guy with his 25, and then we went across the street to another bar and started drinking, waiting for them to come and pick up the body.
That's how much you could kill with impunity.
Exactly. And nobody talked. It was a silence. It was the law of silence. Nobody could say anything. Yeah. Everybody knew that we had killed him when we were across the street, but nobody could do nothing.
Paraira, for people that don't know, places that he's talking about, Paraira, parts of Cali, obviously these tiny little towns that I forget the name of, I would equate them to a place like Culiacan, Sinaloa, or in Mexico, in the Sierra. It's completely gaucho cowboy justice.
Exactly.
They have different laws and rules than the rest of the country.
Exactly, something like that at that time.
Yeah.
So after he killed that little guy over there, then now I had to prove a point, and I had to show him that I'm also a killer. So I remember we were in the other bar, and then I don't know why we moved down like 2 bars more. And then we were in there, and then this asshole just came out of nowhere. And I guess he just wanted to die that day. And he came up to us, he looked at me and spit on the floor. Then he looked at my cousin and spit on the floor. And then he looked at our other friend and spit on the floor. And we're like, oh, really? Shit. And we were offended. This guy's got to die. So he had already killed that guy over there. So they had hid his gun. Because once you shoot the guy, you give the gun to the barman and he goes and hide it.
Right.
For you. So he had already killed that guy. They hid his gun, so he couldn't do anything. So the only one that could do something was me, my 45. But I had my 45. I wasn't walking around with my 45 here and there. That's a big ass gun. I had it. I had it at a nearby where I had it at one of my cousin's house. So his sister's house. So I went and got my 45. Came back in a taxi, and went. And then I went into the bathroom to put some coke in my, and just drinking. And then I went to the bathroom. And as soon as I went to the bathroom and loaded up, the guy came into the bathroom. The guy that spit on us. So he came into the bathroom. So I just faked it off and continued taking a leak. Then he just looked at me and laughed. And then he went out, stumbling a little. And then he went and sat on the table. And then the rest was like a movie. He sat in his chair. So the rest was like a movie. I was coming out with the gun right here, taking it out. And my cousin was in back of me trying to get the gun from me because he wanted to shoot the guy. It was like we want to kill this guy so bad that we were fighting over who was going to kill him. But obviously I had my hand on gun, so he wasn't going to get it. And then we just like struggled ourselves a little to like where you're sitting right there, and I just took it out and boom, hit him with one shot 45. I didn't even, I right in the chest. I didn't need it to, and the bullets were
hollow point?
Yeah, hollow points with a little hole. So I didn't have to sit there and wait.
Right.
I just shot him. I knew he would die with that 45. Oh man, it's like shooting an elephant. Boom, and that's it. I remember the next day they said that the bullet went through him, through the wall, through the chair, through everything.
And there's no sense that like, I just killed a guy in front of a bunch of people in a bar. I should probably like make a run for it.
No. I made a run to go put the gun away, and then I took a taxi. Boom, boom, boom. It was like a movie scene, man. Because the taxi guy took me like to a mountain. Then I gave him his money. Then I came out. I showed him my gun. I said, "Don't even say who you left here. Now I'll kill you." And they know, they won't say nothing because they know you'll find them. And then I just remember I went down a hill, and then I went, put my gun away, changed clothes, and then came back and kept drinking.
Wow.
And kept drinking.
Okay, so and then you'd stay for how long when you were on these trips?
Okay, on these trips, they were normally like summer vacation, 3 months, I imagine.
So then would you go back to high school when you got back to Florida?
Yeah, exactly. Then I would come back and go to high school.
And were you actually going to class?
Yeah, I was skipping class. You know, it was one of those days. It was one of those classes where you would just go to class and then jump the fence. The math teacher was an asshole, Mr. Schroeder.
Yeah.
Oh, his guy was a real asshole. So I would always leave on his, and then we would just leave with a few friends on the block, and we would go and start breaking into cars.
Yeah.
I remember we broke into a car and we found an ounce of weed. We found a gun. Like a 38.
Did they know? Did these other gang members and people from the neighborhood know that you caught bodies in Colombia?
I don't remember speaking about it too much.
Okay. So you were able to kill somebody and then just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Keep it to myself because I mean, why talk about it?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, as a young guy, it's like you're ashamed of it.
Uh-huh.
You're like, oh man, you know. But then when I came to Colombia, I was Superman.
Yeah.
I was, you know, as a matter of fact, that day we stole that ounce, and I smoked so much weed, man. We broke into a haunted house, or you know, an empty house, an abandoned house, and I remember we were so high, man, that there was a mattress on the floor, and we were jumping from the second floor like Superman.
Yeah.
That's how screwed we were with a gun.
Like it's LSD or something.
Yeah, like LSD. Yeah.
Okay.
Screwed up.
Tell us about the case that eventually got you, repatriated, got you kicked out of
Repatriated. Okay, so now we are already deep in gangs. We are famous for gangs, and our war was with the Untouchables. The Untouchables was a Jamaican gang. At that time, we hated Jamaicans. We hated Jamaicans and we hated Cubans. Okay, so what was the deal with the Jamaicans? The Jamaicans. The young gangs, they were always talking crap about the Colombians because the Colombians were the ones that were bringing the coke in. So Jamaicans were trying to take control, and the Jamaicans were in control of the weed. So there was always like that rivalry. And in the teenage kind of deal, the rivalry was in skating rinks. We used to go to skating rinks and Nepentha. Okay, I remember it was like a discotheque with a skating rink in the middle. You've seen it, and then pool tables, and we would just go in there and chill and sit on the wall and, you know, smoke weed and be there ready. And if things broke loose, then we would just shoot up the place or they would shoot us. So anyways, we had a big problem with them, so we just wanted to kill those. So what we did is we went to Nepentha that night and we planned everything. We were going to arrive there in the cars. I had two guns. I hid them under a McDonald's dumpster. And the idea was that because back in the days when you got in a gang fight, they called the gang unit. The gang unit would come, they take out the gang members, they put one gang on this side, one gang on that side, and then they start taking pictures and classifying you that you're from that gang, and then everybody go home and don't come back, and that's it. You know, that's what they would do. If they find something on you, they would take you to jail or detention center, whatever. So the deal was that my brothers would go in there with some of the other gang members, and then they would start a fight. And once they started the fight, then they would come like always, the gang unit, they would line them up outside on the wall because they line you up on a wall. And that was it. So once they had them nice and lined up, then Alex, the killer, would get his two guns from the dumpster, and then I would go to where they had the lineup, and I was just gonna start shooting all of them.
With the cops right there.
Who gives a damn? I was just gonna start shooting my ass off because that's how much we just wanted to kill them. And when you're young, you're stupid. You don't think about that. And in my case, which I was really crazy, I mean, I was like, I'm gonna go kill these. I don't care who's there. And that was the perfect plan.
Right.
Now, everything was perfect.
Perfect. Well, it's arguable, but sure.
It's arguable. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what I mean? Everything was perfect in that mind, in that state of mind.
Yeah.
So we were coming out. So I came out with the two guns. And as soon as I came out with the two guns, well, you're not going to believe it. Some cop came out of McDonald's. I guess he was eating hash browns or who the hell knows what the hell he was doing at McDonald's. And he just came out of McDonald's, man.
Just a regular cop?
A coincidence. Just a regular cop. He wasn't the gang unit cop. He just happened to be in there. So when I come out with the guns and I'm gonna go get them right over there, you know, the cop's right there. And he sees me with the two guns in my hand because I was ready to go blow them up. So he says, "Hey, stop!" And shit, everything got screwed. So I couldn't even run over there and shoot him. Now I had to run and not get busted. So he started getting his gun out and started chasing me, and I started running my ass off. And then at that time, the gang unit, the helicopter, and all that bullshit started chasing me down. And then once I was like almost trying to get away, I said, "What the heck? It looks like I'm not like they're gonna catch me." So I just turned around and started shooting that came out of McDonald's.
Wow.
And
Both guns?
Yeah, with both guns. Now, unfortunately, they have, cops in the States, they have their bulletproof vests and all this and that. So unfortunately, he didn't die. Well, I didn't know at that time. I thought I had killed him.
But you caught him clean in the chest.
I know it was really difficult because I was running, so I just had to like turn back and and then kept running. And then finally, I ditched the gun somewhere. I didn't sit back and see if I had killed him, but I'm sure that I did get him. And then I just started running, and then I ditched the guns, and then after ditching the guns, and they caught me, and then they found the guns, and then I went to jail, and then over there they said that the cop had died. And at that time, the famous commercial, "Kill a cop, get the chair." Remember?
Right. I don't remember, but that's
at that time
like Florida,
it was
man.
At that time it was kill a cop.
So you thought you might get? So did that
No,
go through your mind?
No,
Like,
I didn't really give a damn. I was pissed off because I couldn't get the untouchables. So for me, it was just another going to jail. I wasn't really knowing about that. But the cops started coming and telling me, "Yeah, the cop died. He died. You're gonna go to the electric chair." And this and that, and they started just talking to me. And as far as I was concerned, I had killed the cop, and everybody was away from me in the normally they try to bully whoever goes in and be an asshole with them and this and that, but everybody respected me. Nobody me that day. They knew I had killed the cop. They were calling me a cop killer. So there was respect in that holding cell. Nobody was messing with me. And if somebody did mess with me, man, I was just gonna stab the hell out of them with whatever I could find, even if I had to do it with my fingers. But
so when did you find out?
So then I went. Then they transferred me to the normal detention center where you go as a minor, and everybody knows that you're a cop killer, and they've already seen the news and this and that. So finally, when I went to my first hearing, that's when I found out that I was arrested. They charged me with attempted murder on a Leo. With armed violence, something like that. I don't remember what the charge, but it was arrested. It was attempted murder on a Leo. That's what it was.
Law enforcement officer. Yeah. Okay. What was your sentence?
No, they hadn't sentenced me yet. Okay. I went to the detention center. Right. Then they did a waiver to treat me as an adult because of the seriousness of the crime.
Yeah.
So since the cop didn't die, then they sentenced me to 65 years in prison. That's what they gave me, 65 years. Now, those 65 years in prison that allegedly they gave me, they sent me to a youth correctional institution, which is not really youth. They call it a youth correctional institution, but you got people there at 27, 28.
Yeah.
And they sent me there. Then after all that and going through what I did, then I found out that, the guy never died. He wasn't going to die because allegedly they had said that he was going to die and that's what I got charged for and convicted for. But if this guy dies, it's a whole new story. I mean, I really didn't know what was going on. I was just young and didn't give a damn.
Wow.
So I went in there, and then that's when that was. Then I went. Then they sent me. That was Brevard Correctional Institution. I remember Brevard, and then from there I don't know what happened, and I don't remember how I ended up in Dade Correctional Institution. And in Dade Correctional Institution, they transferred me. I don't know if I stabbed somebody in Brevard or I don't remember what happened exactly, but I ended up in Dade Correctional Institution. As a matter of fact, I was watching that movie with these damn gym trainers that killed some guy and didn't kill him. You didn't hear about that famous story, the movie that came out?
No.
With The Rock and everything.
I usually miss his movies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay, so just jumping forward a little bit. So you were in there putting in work. It doesn't sound like you thought that the rest of your life was over.
No,
actually, it didn't sound
like
you gave a shit.
No, I gave a shit in 65 years. Well, I mean, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen.
Right.
So once I went to Dade Correctional Institution, then I started seeing seriousness because now I was with drug dealers, killers, and this and that. Yeah. And I had to prove my point. And even though I was Colombian, whatever. Everybody looked at me as a white boy because I had blonde hair, green eyes.
Yeah.
So everybody just tried me as a white boy. And when you're a white boy in prison, everybody wants to screw you, try you, and you got to prove yourself. You got to do what you got to do. But they didn't know that this white boy really was Colombian and a killer and had killed already and had that blood in him. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know that. So obviously I had problems here and there.
Right.
As a matter of fact, when I was in the county jail, some redneck, I'll call him a redneck because he was a redneck.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Florida.
the guy just came up to me and he hated me because I looked, he told me, I remember he told me, you look white, you speak like a white boy, but you're a damn Hispanic. And he punched me in my mouth. You see that little scar I got right there?
Yeah.
That tiny little scar, that was from him.
Wow.
But we were playing spades.
Uh-huh.
We were playing spades and I had a pen. I was keeping score. As soon as the guy punched me, immediately I just took the damn pen, like as a reaction, I stabbed him right here in the temple. Luckily, he didn't die. If not, I would have gotten more.
Him up, though.
Yeah, I really f***ed him up. As a matter of fact, before I got sent to the prison, I saw him in a holding cell one day, and he was just over there all like, he didn't even say anything to me. He was just like depressed.
You broke him.
And he had a tattoo right here. All that ink that when I stabbed him, I guess that ink just spilled inside his skin, and you could see like the ink right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he
Give him
learned.
to Mike Tyson.
Yeah, he learned his lesson.
Today's episode is sponsored by my favorite deodorant company, the revolutionary, the one and only Mando. I am wearing Mando as we speak. I put it on like 2.5 days ago. I've been sweating. It's been hot as hell out. And still, I smell delicious. Mando is a whole body deodorant. It can go on any part of your body. So if your forearms smell, you can put Mando on there and it's totally cool. I actually recommend it. It's the cheaper way to smell like you have expensive cologne on. My producer uses it. You like Mando, right? It's wonderful. Mando was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. That's right. And also what I love about Mando is it finally makes you smell good and keep your odor down, but it's free of all that crap that most of the leading brands have that you go buy at the grocery store. It's baking soda free, paraben free, it's vegan, it's dye free. It is the healthiest way to smell good. It's got scents like bourbon leather, clover woods, Mount Fuji, and Pro Sport. You want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant formula right now? You can find them in Walmart, Target, and other retailers across the country. But for the best deals, you got to go to shopmando.com and use my promo code Mitchell to get 20% off site-wide when you buy Mando's starter pack. It's perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, plus free shipping. You're going to get 20% off site-wide when you use our exclusive code. Use code Mitchell at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. That's SHOPMANDO.com. And please support our show by using that promo code Mitchell for 20% off. Mando's got you covered. Protect your pits and smell great doing it. I love Mando. Did you guys know there's an online cannabis company that ships federally legal THC right to your door? Talking about Mood, folks. Mood is a longtime partner of this show. They are my go-to when it comes to gummies, pre-rolls, etc. All of my THC needs. They're incredible. I've put people on to the sexual euphoria gummies recently. I mean, they've got gummies for you for every kind of mood that you want to have. That's why it's the name of the company. Forget a one-size-fits-all supplements that only get you high. You can get that anywhere. Mood's functional gummies are optimized to kick in as little as 15 minutes and take you to the mood you are looking for, right? So the Magic Mind gummies work great for deep work and creativity. They have a PMS support to ease cramps and balance mood swings. Guys, this is a must-have for your chick, okay? Listen, you can find gummies to just get you high pretty much anywhere these days, but Mood's functional gummies combine premium, federally legal THC with targeted botanicals to get you into the perfect mood, usually in as little as 15 minutes. That's right. And everything ships discreetly to your door. No dispensary lines, no awkward conversations, just better days and nights delivered to your doorstep. I always recommend Mood gummies, especially to people that are not used to taking THC gummies, right? Because you don't know what you're getting. That's people's fear because they know what these gummies can do to you. They can get you insanely high. You have a panic attack. You lose your mind. You go schizo. That is why you need Mood, because literally you can choose from all of their different products how you want to feel, and that gummy will match that. I put my stamp on mood. I'm serious. Head to mood.com right now and get 20% off your first order with the code CONNECT. Once again, that is mood.com. Get 20% off when you use my promo code CONNECT. This is a life-changing THC product, okay? Don't forget to use that promo code CONNECT when you check out to save 20% on your first order. I love Mood. Check them out. Thank you for sponsoring the show.
You served how many years before you found out that you were getting repatriated?
Okay, so I went to the Dade Correctional Institution. Then there I started meeting all these drug dealers from Colombia. They didn't speak Spanish. They were there doing their time.
They didn't speak English.
And they didn't speak English. And they're always saying hi to everybody. So I was just the gang member that was a Colombian, but not the drug dealer Colombian, you know. As a matter of fact, sometimes Colombians didn't like me a little because they didn't like these Colombian-made individuals from the States that were in gangs.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, you should be a killer. You should be a hitman.
Ghetto, yeah.
You shouldn't be in the ghetto and this and that. You know, they didn't like that crap. So I remember one time I was going by and I saw this brother. I'll call him brother so that we don't offend them. You know, I grew up with black people
It's okay.
all the time. So
You've already said the N-word twice. What's
so,
a third?
So I met one of these brothers and he was talking to one of these capos that are dangerous. And he was saying, hello, you ugly. How are you doing today, you son of a... with a smile. So the Colombian didn't speak English. So he was saying, oh, hi, thank you very much. So that really offended me because I was going to let them try a Hispanic like that, you know, because they didn't understand the language. So I immediately butted in and a fight broke out. You know, I immediately swung on the black guy because I had beef for him either way. So I immediately swung on that guy. And hell broke loose there. And then all the other black guys came in to fight. But then once that happened, the other Colombians thought that it was with them. So they took out their little knives and this and that and their shanks. And then just you know, everything got stopped. You know, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're going to kill each other. But then everybody stepped back and something happened. So then the Colombian, after that, like later on that day, they came and they were pissed off at me. What the hell am I doing? Why am I messing up their peace there and this and that, this and that? And they didn't know. So then I told him, I say, oh, what do you mean, what am I doing? Did you know what the guy was telling you? He was telling you that you're a stupid that your mother's a real bitch and smiling so that you would shake his hand and he's humiliating you. Why? Oh, they didn't like that. So then after that, hell broke loose and now there was going to be a war with them. So during that kind of war, they started putting me under their wings. In other words, they were always calling me to translate, to be on the lookout. What the hell was that looking out? In other words, now I was showing them the ropes of the prison because they knew the ropes because a lot of them had been there for a long time. But they didn't know the ropes in the language kind of understanding. So they really didn't know what the hell was going on, you know? So then I started showing them the ropes, telling them how these guys were taking advantage, how these guys didn't like the white boys, how these white boys didn't like those, how the Islam's over there, you know, you got all these people, the Mexicans, the damn Jamaicans. And so I was like the interpreter there. So they started getting really fond of me. And when there were some problems here and there, I was always there in action. So they also found respect for me, and they can see, you know, when you're a killer and you see some other guy that he's got cold blood, you know, you can feel it. So they started showing respect, and then that's when 5 years later, these drug dealers found a way to get back to Colombia, because since they were in the States paying, I don't know how many years they were sentenced to. They were never going to get out, or maybe in 30 or 40 years, who knows. So then at that Pablo Escobar, Cartel de Cali and Cartel de Medellin time, they were dominating here in Colombia.
Right.
The government, they paid the government off, or if not, they would just say either you do what I want or I kill you. Either you take the money or you take the bullet. Yeah. Which do you prefer? So these government officials would take the money. And that's when hell started breaking loose. So they found a way to repatriate themselves. Right. So what the government from Colombia did was they, according to human rights, or I don't know how exactly they did it, I'm just assuming, making an ass out of you and me when you assume. So these guys ended up through human rights asking the American government for these drug dealers to be able to serve their prison term in Colombia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that way they could be with their families and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
So yeah, somehow it was approved.
Either through the state U.S. attorney or the state attorney or the U.S. attorney and a judge. Wow.
Yeah. Who knows how they did it, but
that's remarkable.
They did it.
And was it all Colombians or did
No,
you
just Colombians with drug crimes.
Okay.
Drug traffickers.
So how then did you jump on that ship?
Yeah, I was a lucky.
Tell me about
They started just throwing them over there. You know, they started repatriating these people. And when they got to Colombia, Colombia would just say, hey, you know, you didn't do anything here. You know, your crime was in the States. So they would let them go.
So you'd only done 5 years?
Yeah, I had only done 5 years. And I was hoping they would extradite me, but I knew they weren't going to do it.
Yeah.
First of all, because it was only for drug traffickers. Second of all, because it couldn't be a violent crime.
Right.
And third of all, if you try to kill a cop, you know, forget it.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that right. You got to pay. Americans are really strict in that crap.
Yeah.
They want you to pay. So one day out of nowhere, they ran out of drug dealers to repatriate. So they started sending Colombians here and there. And I knew I wasn't going to be sent because of my crime. But one day out of nowhere, they just came and told me, hey, we're going to send you back to your country.
Yeah.
Even though I had my green card, even though my mother had already become an American citizen.
Right.
Okay, you have your green. They said, we're going to send you back to your country. You're going to sign this paper where you're going to promise not to come back to the States in 25 years. After 25 years, you can come back. It's cool.
What year was that?
That was in, let me see exact. That was around 1996 because I came here in 1996.
Wow.
Now
and you
that I
have not
remember.
been back since 1996.
Never.
Almost 30 years.
Almost 30 years.
I mean, did you?
I haven't even tried to go under the whole. I could have tried. I've had people wanting to send me there. I could. They told me just go to Mexico and you'll walk like a normal American. You know, just get next to them construction workers and just they'll think you're just another white boy coming through.
It's ironic. If your mom had got you citizenship when you were a little kid, you would have been an American citizen. You probably would still be in prison.
Yeah.
You ever think about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
So
you're
that,
not Colombian now. You're an American.
Exactly. Like that kind of double nationality helped me. Now, what really saved my ass is that I wasn't a legal citizen yet.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
It was like in process.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if my mother would have legalized that, probably I would have still been over there paying. Yeah, I would have still been in jail, of course.
Okay. So you're obviously like, you must feel untouchable now. You're like, I just got sprung from a life sentence.
When I got here or there?
Yeah, when you got sprung from jail there.
Yeah. Well, first of all, they brought down the charges because and that's how you can see how crooked the system can be also.
Yeah.
Because in the States, they want to throw you in the system. I mean, once you're a kid and you commit a crime and you go into the HRS system, you're screwed, man.
Right.
I went through everything, man. I went through halfway houses, group homes, shelter homes. They told my mom she couldn't, she didn't have the I don't know how you would say that, but that she couldn't take care of me. So they took me away from my mom and they threw me in these halfway houses and that's how I met other gang members.
Yeah.
And, you know, I met some guy that stole cars and that's how you start moving up in that world.
Yeah.
But then you can't ever get out of that system. It's difficult to get out of the HRS or all that crap.
It's one of the biggest shames of America.
Yeah. Once you're in the system, you're screwed.
But you got here in 1996 and you got to work?
Exactly. They dropped down the charges. Attempted murder in Arleo. Then they went to resisting arrest with armed violence. Then it went to resisting arrest with no violence. And then it just went down to resisting arrest. And then from resisting arrest, they waived over or whatever the hell they made me sign. Boom, and you were in Colombia. Wow. I thought I was going to pay time here. I didn't know the Colombians were free here yet. I told you that because I found that out after I got to Colombia, and the DAS just stamped on my passport and said, "Welcome to Colombia."
See, not a day in jail.
Man, not a day in jail. I didn't have to report to anybody. They just told me, "Welcome to Colombia," and that's it.
Where did you come?
I went to Bogota.
Okay.
Because my brother had already committed a crime, and he escaped from the States. You know, he just bought a plane ticket and came over here on a warrant. So he found his way to teach English. He was teaching English. You know, he was trying to start a new way, a new life. So he was teaching English.
Yeah.
So he told me, hey, why don't you start teaching English and that? So I'm like, fuck that, you know. One day I went to the institute, and he was working in a bilingual secretarial English institute. And when I went there, man, it was just like 25 or 30 girls in uniforms. So I said, oh, you know, that might it might work for me. What the heck, you know? It sounded pretty cool. But then I said no, so I ended up going back to Cali. I came to Cali. He stayed in Bogota. I came to Cali.
Right.
And then I got in touch with some of my friends that had been in that prison, and I got in touch with one that was called William Garzon, and he was with the cartel. He was with the Cali Cartel. I don't know what the hell he did with them, but he was involved in that area.
Okay, describe 1996 in Cali. The Orejuelas had just been arrested.
Yeah,
They hadn't been extradited yet, though. They were in Colombian prison.
Exactly.
Were they still running the city
Yeah, of course.
and exporting when they were in Colombian
everything.
prison?
Yeah,
Okay.
everything was still being run by them or by other people. But the cartel was there still.
Okay, so the old school, the
Yeah,
Cali Cartel was still in place when you went
for
to
sure.
war. Okay, so how did you link up with them through
So I
this
linked up
context?
with the William Garzon. He told me, hey, just wait for me to get there. Do something in the meantime while I get out. I don't know why he hadn't gotten extradited or repatriated. I don't know what his deal was. I never knew that, as a matter of fact. He should have. So he told me just to wait and wait, that his process hadn't come through, whatever. So then one of my brother's best friends came to Cali in one of the English Institute branches and became the director there. So my brother told me, hey, hire my brother. So I went over there and got a job as an English teacher. Wow. So Harmon Mayer, which was a black Afro-American who freed slavery according to his story years ago and came to Colombia and married a Colombian girl. He's the one he was a linguistics doctor. I don't know. He was a doctor in linguistics. So he was known because people that came from the States like me, which were really born here, but we were trapped. We were raised in the States and meant to be thought in our mind that we were really Americans with the American dream, because I went to high school, to prom, played American football and all that crap. So I felt very American, you know? And I came here, I didn't even know how to speak English very well. I didn't know what the hell the culture was here. Yeah, I had seen some of it from coming on vacation days, but I felt like I missed the States, you know? Damn, you know, why did they kick me out of my country? That's what I thought, you know? So I started working there at the Institute, and then this guy, you know, he started training me, and I started doing things really good. You know, I became an excellent teacher. Then I started moving up there. Then I became a coordinator, and by the time I became a director, because I became a director, that's when I met my wife. My wife was a student there, so I met my wife there. Nice. We got married 3 months later. And they started sending me to other branches, to Barranquilla, and I was really young, but since I had that mentality, you know, I controlled people. I learned the bosses, there's those kind of bosses that don't just train you. They train you like, I would say, the American way, when an American is the owner. Okay, come on, what are you, stupid? Come on. You know, like the Italian way. Come on, get this with here and there. But I didn't care. They could insult me all they want. I was just taking all their knowledge. And all that knowledge helped me, because I became a director of these English institutes, and they started transferring me to different branches. So I went to one branch and I made that branch grow, and that branch would grow, and then they would send me to another branch and I would make them grow. And they were making a lot of money with me handling these branches. And I was just doing that, waiting for the other guy. But I was smoking my weed here and there. And I still I still had hatred in my heart. But then I was getting used to that new life, and I was liking it with my wife, and things were going pretty good. And then when things were getting really good, there was this one director that was a real asshole, and he was always going to the branches to screw the girls. And he came to my branch and wanted to just control the branch, and like, you know, in other words, he wanted to sit in my chair, and I didn't give a damn. He could sit wherever he wants. But the problem is that when we're in the middle of registering students, you know, it's a real busy, and I need to be in the chair and signing permission and giving orders here and controlling this and that. And then, you know, he's there, and I had to sit like on the side like a dumbass, and that really pissed me off. So one day, I don't know, he treated me like crap. And I said, you know, you, man, today. My friend from Cali finally called me, the Colombian from Cali that was in the prison. He finally got out. He told me, hey, I'm here. I need you. So that coincidentally happened with that day. So I told the guy, man, this is the last day you're going to bitch, I mean, if you say one more word, I'm just gonna come across that chair. I'm gonna get your ass out of there. I'm gonna beat the out of you in front of everybody, in front of all the girls that you screwed. I'm just gonna, and that guy just turned pale, because I was pretty big at that. I was young, big.
Okay, so did you take your wife back to Cali?
Okay, so then, so then that guy, after I told him I was gonna beat his ass, then I just left. I resigned. I resigned, and at that time, things were not going well with my wife because she had gotten pregnant. And when women get pregnant, they sometimes become jealous and they become a pain in the butt sometimes. And she was a champion at that. And I don't know why. My wife is so beautiful. My wife, she was a queen here well, not a national queen like of Colombia, but she was a queen in these little I don't know how you say that in English. These little queen.
Pageants.
Yeah, these pageants. That's what you call them. Beautiful. My wife is beautiful. My wife looks like Beyonce or one of these women.
She's black.
She's a little. Yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah, we in the States we say black even if you're red bone.
Right.
But here in Colombia, when you say black, they get offended. Oh, no, I'm not black.
Right.
I am mulata.
Okay, tell me how you got involved with
Cali. Okay, so with William Garcon. So once I did that, then I was having this problem with my wife, so I started dating one of the teachers and screwing her on. And then I left my house, and then we separated, and I abandoned my wife with my daughter. Oh, I hate that shit. I hate to say that. It hurts, but it happened. And then I was with the teacher, and then I was going to start over, but then this guy came, so then we decided we were going to take drugs to Ecuador because he had a contact in Ecuador. He had been to Italy already. He was sending drugs to Italy. So we were going to take some, he knew how they were doing the mule deal there in Ecuador and this and that. So we made some vests, and we were going to fill them up with heroin. They wanted heroin because heroin was more money and this and that. So what the heck, let's take heroin. So I didn't have too much experience about that or cared. So we did some vests that I remember those vests had I don't remember how many kilos. They were like 14 kilos or almost like 14 or 22 kilos. I don't remember. 14 or something kilos.
a gang of heroin.
Yeah, it was a gang of heroin. And
you guys took it on the plane?
No, we went on the border. We went to the border. We went to Tulcan. There we were going to cross the border with that crap. And then from there, everything was organized allegedly. We didn't know too much about that shit. So we were really relying on him and trusting him. And can you believe it? The taxi driver or something I don't know what happened, but somebody snitched on us. A taxi driver snitched on us. And this taxi driver, which I have this tattoo here that says Mueran Sapos. After they shot and killed that guy, I made my tattoo, Mueran Sapos. That's why you got the damn gun pointing at you there, and it says Mueran Sapos. So this guy, they snitched us out and they busted us in Tulcan. We got caught, went to prison in Tulcan. Oh man, that was the worst day of my life, man. And then, so then I was in prison in Tulcan. Then I was going to stay there. So I started organizing how the hell I was going to get out of there. I started controlling a little there with the Colombians, receiving there were many Colombians there, many mules, because in that time there was a lot of mules. As a matter of fact, in the Quito prison, which was the maximum security, the mules would go into the prison and they would load them up in prison, and then they would go to the airport and fly off. In other words, the drug dealers were...
The kingpins had the weight. They had quantity, kilos
in prison.
That was the distribution point.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Right in the prison. Like if it was a damn, you know.
So Colombians,
And it was drug dealers from everywhere. Right. Because in that prison, you had people from Africa, you had people from Europe, you had people from all over the world that had been busted for drugs. And now they were... As a matter of fact, some mules that were mules, they became like drug dealers.
Yeah.
Because the big time drug dealers were also in that prison. Right. So now they had direct contact with the Colombians to get the cocaine in there. Yeah. And they would pay everybody up. And that was just a whole crooked deal there. So I was in Tulcan. So I tried to escape a few times. The first time that I was going to escape, I met these paramilitaries that were allegedly bad but they all shitted in their pants because the first time we were going to escape, after I got one of the guards and disarmed him and had him on the ground, and I told this paramilitary guy to tie his shoes. You're not going to believe it. This paramilitary guy that had killed people already and this and that, he got so nervous that he just knelt down and started tying his shoelaces. His name was Eloy Martinez. I was never able to kill that guy. So this guy this guy just, and so they busted me. They got me. They got me because I had a gun. I could have shot my way out, but they were, I mean, the police were already outside.
So what is your sentence now for this? The attempted
No,
escapes
actually,
and the heroin
in
and all
that time, they didn't screw you over. Okay, okay. So I got caught with the heroin. At that time, they had el dos por uno. So they sent me to 14 years of prison. But since they had the dos por uno, I would only pay 7 years.
Right.
And 7 years. Then the Pope came. I don't know what year he came, but and when the Pope comes to prison over there, they give you another year on the house.
Wow.
So I ended up with 6 years.
Wow.
And I don't remember how they brought that down to 5 years because that's all I ever did over there was 5 years. But then after I tried to escape several times, then they said, no, this guy's too dangerous. We got to get him out of here. So they shipped me over to maximum security over there. That's where I received Oscar.
Right, our friend.
Yeah, our
who
friend
made the introduction.
Oscar.
And this was in Quito.
No, that was in Tulcan.
Oh, no, but they shipped you
Oh,
to
okay,
Quito.
they shipped me to Quito, to
Tell-
maximum security.
Okay. And did you do the rest of your stretch there?
Yeah, I started doing the rest of my stretcher, but I thought, over there it was crazy, man. You had these come muertos and you had these killers. People were getting chopped up left and right, killed everywhere. And then I started doing drugs because I was doing heroin. So, I got crazy with heroin. Then I started doing, over there, you don't call it basuco, you call it polvo. Because
Polvo.
over there is
Dust.
polvo.
Yeah.
Yeah, dust. And it's like, basuco is like the garbage, like here in Colombia, as you have seen it. But polvo is like fine basuco. In other words, polvo is like really base. It's like base grinded down, like really grinded powder. It's like baby powder kind of. And they sell me these little tiny things, and with that little thing you put in your head, man, shit, you're gone. And
So you started becoming an addict.
yeah, so I started becoming an addict. I thought I was never going to leave the prison. And my wife came to visit me several times. I left the other girl and decided my wife started coming back, trying to get back with me again.
Were you putting in work? Did you have to kill people or did you have to defend yourself?
Yeah, well, not yet. Once I started using drugs like crazy and became an addict, I was using heroin because over there you would smoke this, let's call it crack. You would smoke the crack, and once you were all paranoid and everything, you would go down with heroin.
Right.
And then once the heroin started going, then you would go back and you were going on up. But I would never sleep. And then of course, then I started doing jobs, stabbing people. Sometimes they would just get people for you to, in other words, some guy would kill some guy. And then especially in the huelgas, in the riots, they would kill some guy. And then they would chop this guy up. And then they would give you a piece of his body, and you had to get rid of that piece of your body. And your prize was a little box full of this polvo crap.
That was it.
And heroin.
To get rid of a hand.
Yeah, to get rid of a hand.
How would you get rid of somebody's
Well,
hand?
you get a hammer or a rock and you start beating the hell out of it until it just turns into nothing, and start putting it in water and getting rid of it. Or, I mean, it's your hand.
You're stretching your polvo with it.
It's your hand. You got to do whatever the hell.
What other body part did you get?
No, I only did that twice. One time I got an arm, and another time I got a hand.
So you had to grind down a human arm?
Yeah, a human arm. I did that with the reason I said the rock is because that's all I had was a rock. I wasn't going to spend my polvo because my polvo, I could get some of that, sell it, and then I could buy maybe something sharp or whatever. You could do it.
To grind it, but how do you do it? How do you grind a human arm down with a rock? I mean, that seems
you just start smashing the heck out of it.
Jesus.
I mean, just imagine if have you ever seen when somebody gets ran over a car, what that happens?
No.
So you just start smashing the hell out of it. As a matter of fact, I just got the memories of this guy that I got rid of because I smashed the hell out of his head because he was going to kill me here in Namundi.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about that afterwards. But that guy, I smashed with a brick oh man. I smashed them like 20 bricks, and I was so paranoid that I thought he was going to come back alive. And so I smashed more.
Right. Okay. So
The arm, you just start smashing the hell out of it. You start smashing and smashing and smashing, and everything's going everywhere. Of course, you wrap it up in something, right? If not, you'll just.
So you've essentially become, as we found out, not a come muerto, because come muertos are like lifers down there that just kill people
exactly
for any amount of money, but almost like a come muerto.
Yeah, come muertos, either they kill somebody, but honestly, there's a lot of come muertos that are not really come muertos. I'm sorry, they are come muertos. They're just not killers.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a guy that was sentenced because he killed his wife or with a machete, but he's not a real hitman. He's not a killer, but he's there for that. And then he goes in and he starts doing drugs and they him or whatever, and then he just becomes a drug addict. But since he's got a 25-year sentence and he's never going to get out of there, if he kills another guy, he gets the same 25-year sentence concurrent.
That's right. So you can just keep killing people.
I can kill 10 and I'll pay the same 25 years.
Right.
That's why they're called come muertos. Because if I kill you, if I kill that guy over there, then I'll just give you the knife and you'll say, I did it.
Right.
And that's it. You ate a dead man.
Right.
That's why it's called a come muerto.
Right.
Okay? And then you pay the prison term. So that's why anybody could just kill anybody. So of course, the killers, they would be killing left and right. And these come muertos would be taking the blame for drugs.
Yeah, that kind of brutality. I mean, that's probably why part of the reason that prison got shut down.
Exactly. Now, what happened in my case, after being a drug addict and smoking so much, one time I would hustle myself. They would send me money from the States. I became an asshole and I started telling my family lies that they were going to kill me, getting money here. Because when you're in that crap, man, I mean, especially when you don't have heroin, man, you feel like you're going to die, man. And if you don't get that heroin, you're nothing. You can't even get up from your bed.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, man. I remember that. And thank God I never use drugs anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Thank God I survived, because not many heroin addicts can tell you the story.
Right.
So thank God I can tell you the story.
So, like, when you see heroin addicts today, like those people down in that zone that we went to in downtown Cali, you know, these barely human beings shooting up, like, does that do something to you?
No, not anymore. Thank God that I can say right now that it doesn't do anything to me. Now, if I stay around and start talking and sleep over and I start smelling that crap, sooner or later, is just that beast is going to wake up, and then we have a problem.
Yeah.
You don't want that beast to come out. You got to keep that beast sleeping. But it's more the thought of making my daughter suffer, because my daughter has seen me in the streets. My daughter has walked by and seen me garbage picking, taking garbage out of the eating food out of the goddamn garbage.
The lowest,
because you see, that's what the drug, all this kind of life that you live as a drug dealer and as a drug trafficker and as a hitman and all that crap, the way I look at it religiously, what the devil has in plan for you is for, at the end of the day, for you to become the scum of the earth. Yeah. And religiously, the way I believe it, that's when God just takes you from the scum of the earth and restores you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the only explanation I have.
Yeah. No, I mean, but these people, this country is run rampant with drug addicts. It's shocking.
Yeah.
It really turns on its head the notion that Americans are the ones that buy drugs and you're the ones who export them to us. Not so.
Yeah. Here it's a problem. It's a problem.
Mexico too.
It's a problem.
All over the world, really. Okay, so you do 5 years.
Yeah. So I was doing 5 years. So we were in that. We were in the part where. I was doing 5 years. Okay, you were telling me that if I had killed people over there or what had happened.
Yeah.
So one day after I became a big drug addict and I didn't give a damn anymore and I just thought I was going to die over there, then I was hustling people and people were sending me money. And as a matter of fact, I was working with some of the Colombians, drug dealers there. They had little restaurants in the prison and I was working with them there and making my money. I had bought my cell because there you can buy your cell. I had my own cell and this and that. But then I moved in with some jerk that started smoking that basuco crap, that polvito. He was always smoking it in cigarettes, so I started smoking it again. But it was just, like I had money, I would smoke just on the weekends. Then I started getting more into it, then the heroin and all that crap. So then one time, they didn't send a payment on time. And these damn Ecuadorians, they have their little prison gang members over there. So one of these little cliques that you would call them, They beat the heck out of me. They hit me with a brick on the back of my head and almost beat the hell out of me that day. Oh man. So after that, they sent me to an area where you can say it's like protective. It's not protective custody like in the States where it is protective custody, but they just sent me like in a holding cell with a gate where they couldn't get to me. So I remember I got my money finally. So the idea was to go out and pay them and pay the guards out, because the guards they receive money, like they're very corrupted. They bring you the drugs.
Obviously, yeah.
They bring you the drugs. So the guy came over across the street and he said, "Hey, remember you got to pay. You got to pay." And I bought 2 machetes. I bought 2 big knives about this big, like machetes.
From who?
You buy them in prison.
They got dealers. They got huge knives.
Yeah, they got people to make them. No, you got the cachimochos. The cachimochos are these Ecuadorian people that go outside and they buy things for you. And since you got a restaurant, you have permissions to have some of this crap.
Right.
So as long as you pay them off pretty good, they'll bring them in for you. Or you just fool them. They're really stupid. These Ecuadorians, cachimochos, they're a little dumb, unfortunately. And you can just trick them in how to bring in things. That's how drugs were smuggled in, because they would go buy drugs. They would go buy bananas in a little stand where you would send them to buy it. But what they didn't know is that it was a Colombian that was stuffing coke in those bananas. You know what I'm saying? And they would and they would be innocently doing that. And they would pay the guards off, so they would just let everything come in. So I bought 2 little machetes, and they came over to that area to tell me that, hey, what about the money you owe us? That's why we beat your ass and this and that. And I said, oh yeah, you. The money you got are these, and I can use 2 machetes very good. I can just grow like that, like samurai. So I just did, here's your money. And they swore that they were going to kill me, and I swore that I was going to kill them. I didn't give a damn because I thought I was going to die there. I was a drug addict. So the next 5 years, those were the most difficult 5 years of my life in that prison, because these 5 years was constantly, they were always trying to kill me. And I was going from pavilion to pavilion trying to survive. And they got me a few times. One time they had me in a holding cell. As a matter of fact, one of Oscar's friends that he used to give him, the drummer, they had me in there. And the first time they threw me from a 3rd floor. They threw me from a 3rd floor. I don't know how I landed like a cat, but I survived. Wow. They threw me from a 3rd floor. So when they did that one to me, then I went on the 3rd floor, and from the 3rd floor, you could see the guys shooting pool. And I got one of them guys that were shooting pool, and I was able to take it was like a bench. It was like a bench, and I was able to throw it from that 3rd floor, and I calculated him, and boom, broke that guy's neck. He didn't die, luckily for him, but he did get screwed up. I mean, he was like this for some time. So then they really wanted to kill me. Then another time they stabbed me over here. They put me in a holding cell. And then once I was in this holding cell, I looked out the window, guy, and I saw them, because you could see from the door, the bottom tier where you could see the people coming in. And I see these guys just coming in with knives. You could just with knives, like nothing, machetes. I saw like 7 of them coming in, and I knew they were coming for me. They were coming to kill me that day. That's why they had me in the holding cell, and that's why they had me in one guy's cell. But what they would do is they would go and take you there, and then they would take you to another cell of a come muerto, and they would chop you up in that cell and kill you and get rid of you or whatever. And then everybody goes home happily. So when I saw them coming, when I saw that they were coming, I knew something was going to happen. And I remember I had like a big old needle. There was a big old needle in that cell. And as soon as the guy came and opened the door smiling, he's like the capo. The capo, in other words, the owner of that cell, that really is not paying 25 years. He'll be leaving like in 3 or 4 years. Right. So he can't afford problems, because they'll keep his ass there, and he's not going to stay there. So he hires these guys to come and kill me, or they're part of his gang. So as soon as they came in, I just said, I'm not going to let these kill me. I'm going to kill myself. So I stabbed myself with that big needle in my heart right here. You can actually see I have that little scar. You see that scar, white scar right there? Yeah. Right there.
I see it.
I just blim. Wow. And when I stabbed myself and took out the needle, blood just went like this. And when the blood came down on that floor, that guy turned pale. He said, no, ya no. And everybody left.
They saw
They told me to get out of here. No, because if I die in that cell, There's blood on the floor. And the CTI comes in, these people, and they come in with that damn spray that they know that they killed somebody there. You know, like they had killed a guy in 3 cells down, one of these come muerto cells. They killed this guy and they chopped him up in so many pieces and just killed him in that cell. That when they came in with that spray, do you know what spray I'm talking about?
No.
I don't know. It's some type of spray that when these people use it. These people that investigate crimes. I don't know what you call that.
Yeah, it breaks up the blood.
It turns it like fluorescent. In other words, what? Luminol, whatever. Yeah,
Luminol.
That's it. As a matter of fact, it's like that color over there. And in other words, if there was blood there and they cleaned it, that will show it.
Right.
When they sprayed that. So with the blood that was on the floor, this guy was going to get busted for this. So it wasn't convenient for him.
They couldn't kill you in the cell because you were already bleeding all over the place.
They couldn't kill me. They couldn't kill me in that moment because I mean, I didn't think about that. I just didn't want to give them the pleasure of chopping me up. And I said, oh man, imagine me here getting chopped up. Forget it.
Yeah.
So that saved my ass.
How'd you survive?
I don't know, but that saved my ass. And immediately they made me get the hell out of there, and they sent me to another cell of a Colombian where I think I was assigned to that cell. And I went there, and I was like, I felt like I was dying. I don't know what the hell was going on. So I remember they sent me to the doctor, to the prison doctor, whatever. And he found out what happened. I don't know what they did, but they gave me some medication and some crap. And they told me that when I stabbed myself, I created like, I don't remember very well, but I think I created like a space. You know, like an air or something like that.
An air pocket?
An air pocket. And when that starts going, when your blood starts circulating, that air pocket starts getting bigger and bigger. And then once it gets to your heart, you're gone. You know, I don't know what they gave me. They gave me some time. I remember I asked somebody, it was some type of pill that, I don't know if it dilute. I mean, I'm not a medical, so I don't want nobody to think I'm lying. But I survived. I survived.
So there's just constant war trying to get
constant
you killed.
War trying to get me killed, and I'm trying to survive, and at the same time trying to get high. Survive, get high. Survive, get high. Not die from lack of heroin. Not die. So then, you know, just hell started breaking loose over there.
When you got out in 2001.
Yeah, I got out in 2001. I got out really lucky because before in 2001 when I was getting out, some guy came and tried to kill me, and then I ended up killing this. I didn't kill him. I ended up trying to kill him back. I stabbed him in the heart one time. Then this guy just like Rambo got up again. I stabbed him again, nothing. And then he came at me with a machete. Then I was able to put him on the floor. And I was able to lift up his hand, and I stabbed him on this side. I mean, I got his heart here, and he didn't die. So I said, okay, then I'll get him here. And I got him through the side, and he still didn't die. This guy survived. So I had this like charge pending there. And then because of the mercy of God, this guy turned Christian. This guy said that, you know, I was a big, important part of his life because he survived and the Lord saved him. So he changed, he baptized himself, and he didn't press charges on me. He forgave me.
Wow.
He forgave me. So I never got that charge. So and then I got out in 2001.
Wow. You dodged another bullet. And then now you got deported back to Colombia.
Yeah. So I got deported back to Colombia. And when I got to Colombia, you're not going to believe it, but I'm so damn lucky that, you know, everybody that gets to the border, they have paperwork and they turn them into the Colombian government, and they put the paper and they signal that you're screwed and and they know you were in prison and this and that. And when I got there, they couldn't find my paperwork. Something happened with my paperwork. And these Ecuadorians, they were lazy. They weren't going to go way back to Quito to come back and with me and this and that. Or maybe they would even get in trouble. So they just let me through. Wow. They just let me through.
And clean slate.
Yeah, I was in the holding cell with all the other people, but the other day they let us go. And
were you a junkie when you got out, or did you get clean in prison?
No. I was still kind of I was clean and I was still doing drugs because when I came out, I remember I went to Medellin. I did some heroin there because at that time it was easy to get heroin easily in Medellin.
Okay, tell us about the next
the next
10
phase.
years, yeah.
The next 10 years. So yeah, so then I started using drugs. Then I started getting clean. Then I started going to Buenaventura. Then I started working for a couple for Buenaventura that I told you about before, alias Olindillo. In case nobody believes it, they can look him up. I don't give a damn. Alias Olindillo. That's what they call him. Alias Gafas.
Uh-huh.
He was a big guy in Buenaventura.
Narco.
Yeah, narco, a big guy,
Big narco.
So he.
How did you meet him?
I met him because I started living in an apartment building across the street from the bus terminal, and he was living in 2 penthouses in a building across the terminal because I guess since they did business and money and all this crap, they needed to be nearby the bus terminal,
right.
Because they did their deals there, or they got their money there, or I don't know what the heck they did. So I was still using drugs, yeah. And then, I don't know, but one day he met me. I don't remember how exactly was the moment that we met, but what I do remember is that I was going to teach his daughter some English classes or something. And then he found out that I was a whiz at computers and I was really good at computers and this and that and technology. So one day he told me that he needed me to do me a favor, but that it was really low and this and that. So he wanted me to find out if some people had been busted in, I don't remember if it was in the Bahamas. I don't know. It was in some island. It was a speedboat with drugs that got busted, and allegedly it came back to him that the shipment got caught, but they have to prove it because sometimes these speedboat drivers, they lie and they say they got busted, but they actually steal the merchandise and get paid.
Right.
So everything has to be proved for the organization that they are in, for their cartel.
Right.
So that was my job. So yes, I found out they got busted. They were in the Florida State Prison, and you can find all that crap in line.
Right. Okay.
So then he started calling me for more of that. Then one time he told me to go with a friend to pick up some money from Buenaventura. We had to go drive over there and get some money and then come back.
Where were you living at this time? Where
in that building?
Station? But by the bus station, is this in Buenaventura?
No, in Cali, in Cali.
Okay, you didn't specify that. Okay, so he's a boss from Buenaventura. He lives in Cali.
Yeah, exactly, but he lives in Cali.
And who was the organization in the early 2000s? What was the strongest organization in Cali? Was it still the Cali Cartel?
Yeah. The Cali Cartel was, but it wasn't like the Cali Cartel. It was like the people that were left over from the Cali Cartel.
Right.
The guys that were not the big bosses at that time that now could do something because the big bosses were in prison. So they started handling it, but on the low tip.
Right.
On the low tip.
Okay.
So I didn't know too much about this guy, but then he found out my life and the things that I had done and this and that. So he kind of liked that. So then he started telling me to do personal favors for him. You know, like I was in charge of going and it was really stupid. You know, maybe he was screwing someone. You know, these couples, they have all type of women.
Yeah.
So maybe he's screwing this woman and he bought her an apartment and a car and everything. But this bitch is taking some guy in there and screwing him, and he found out. And these guys are jealous.
Right.
They want these women just for him. They don't want them screwing with anybody. They'll put you in there in a Barbie box and they don't give a damn.
Wow.
But they don't want you screwing around with other people.
Right.
First of all, because they might get sick or they're just jealous, man. They're like really jealous about that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so then my job was at first to go and do evil to those guys or to those girls or whatever. Then at that time, it was also my job to maybe go eliminate one of them because he just went over and stayed at the lady's house. But at the beginning, it was just doing evil. I would have to go. He said, okay, I want you to go over there with some guys and I want you to make her think that they're robbing her. I want you to take everything. You're going to get paid and you can take everything that you steal. And that's what I would have to do. So I would have to sit there and you know, like put surveillance on this lady. And as soon as I saw that she was with her lover, whatever, then I would go in and do my deal. And it was just a very simple procedure.
Yeah.
These bitches fell always with the same story.
Yeah.
I would just go with I would buy a big old flower arrangement.
Yeah.
You know, and I would put glasses on and I would just go and I would put the gun right here in the bottom of the flower arrangements.
Yeah.
And I would just come like, I have a flower arrangement for Ms. Maria. And once they see the flower arrangement, even if they're with the lover, they would show that they are receiving flower arrangements from the big boss or whatever.
Yeah.
And then once they opened that door, then that's it, man. They got screwed. I would be in there. I would get the guy, beat him, pistol whip him a little, tie him up. Then the guys would come in. They would take everything, and they would leave her with nothing.
Wow.
And then that's it. And then a few months later, she would have everything back because he forgave her. So now they got everything back. And then round 2 would happen. Then something else would happen. Now, you can't do the flower deal now. So I need you to do something. And then at the end of the day, then just kill that because he hasn't learned his lesson.
Wow.
So that would happen like that also.
Wow. And they say at that time that they would throw the bodies into the Rio Cauca.
The Rio Cauca. Yeah. Yeah, because that's a big river, and then just bodies roll down that river from everywhere.
Yeah. Did you ever have to do that stuff?
Yeah, of course. We had to throw some people in there.
Do you they say they put the chicken wire around?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it. My job was just to throw them in there. There's another guy that would fix them up. Yeah, they did some type of chicken wire deal. They also used to put them down there with cement blocks. As a matter of fact, people used to say that if somebody would go scuba diving, they would probably find a whole bunch of statues just there of people floating like this with cement blocks. And I mean, there was all types of way to do it. Right. This guy was more Machiavellic because he was from Buenaventura. So he had an area, he had wooden companies. This guy had wooden companies. So they had these wooden machines where you just, have you seen those
wood chippers?
Yeah, is that what you call them? Wood chippers? Yeah, they would just wood chip the hell out of people.
Holy
They would throw that guy in there and wood chip them, and that's it.
They say people from Buenaventura are some of the most violent.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I remember this guy had a wood chipper next to some river kind of deal, or I don't know, but they would just chip him right in the water.
Wow.
Boom.
Oh, shit. So, how does this progress?
Okay, so how everything starts progressing because he started trusting me so much, and I started doing this, but then I started using more drugs, and then I did little side jobs here and there, and then just that beast started coming out of me. So then I would do a job, and then I would go and hide out in Las Ollas. I would go there in my motorcycle with my gun, and then I would just start smoking and trying to forget whatever the hell I did. And then once, and I had to hide out because you did the job and then you hid out. So after you hide out, then you come back, you do another job, and it was just a damn boring ass cycle. So my job was to get people also to do it. That's where I met Gustavo because I went over there and I would have to get young guys because sometimes you had to get young guys that would just drive a bicycle like nothing and boom, and then go and shoot some guy.
Wow.
And so I started escalating in that. He started trusting me in that, but he didn't trust me enough because I was using drugs. So he wouldn't take me to the labs and sometimes he would give me coke. I would say, hey, he would give me coke, and I would go to these ollas and I would be like the kingpin over there.
Right. Right.
And I started doing all that, and then it came, okay, then we'll go to the Honduras part. So yeah, after doing so much of that crap.
How long did you work for this guy for?
Well, imagine until many years. Like, I remember my daughter was like, she used to play with their little about like maybe like 10 years, maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I worked a long time with him because I was also lost in the streets. And then he would also, this guy, I could say that he was like a father to me. And it's ironic to say he was like a father to me because he was having me do it. But this guy, I don't know if he loved me so much, like, because my daughter had played with his daughters and he knew my family and he even met my mother. I mean, it was already so close. There was a bond there. I would go and sleep in like these kind of houses here.
Yeah.
I would go and sleep there.
Yeah.
And then he would, when they had so much money, then he said, I'm just going to start, getting some discotheques. So my job was to start downloading music like crazy for the discotheque. So I would go with him and travel, but I would always be with him.
Yeah.
And his, anillos de seguridad, but I was always right there with him,
Even though, but it was like he loved you because you were a junkie. Like Most bosses wouldn't want to be around.
Yeah, no, but he had something special with me. He really, and I guess my charisma, my way of being, and the way I did things with love. Even it's stupid to say that, people will be like, "What do you mean with love? Come on."
Yeah.
What I mean, maybe what I meant to say is I would do things with my heart. I would make sure that I would.
Yeah, it's like I made this latte with love for you.
Yeah, even if I got to kill this, I would do it with love. I would let him know, hey, I'm killing you with love.
That's a crazy thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. And
so these, what happened to this guy?
Okay, so then I started doing all this crap and this and that, but then I was too much of a junkie. So he would pay one of my girlfriends, this girlfriend that I had. You're not gonna believe it, but she was an attorney. She was like a fiscal. She was an attorney in the government, in the palace, in the justice of palace, and she loved me as a junkie. And because she had, in other words, when I was the director at the English Institute, she was a secretary there. A young girl, and she was in love with me, and she liked me, and then we met years afterwards, and she lived in that same building. As a matter of fact, I used to rent her at her aunt's house. I used to rent a room there in the first floor, and then the couple was in the penthouses. So I was there. And he would have this lady. He would pay a hotel and doctors, and they would put me in with what do you call that, IVs. Fluids. They would put IVs, fluids, and all that crap in me to try to get me clean and okay, or at least to survive. And then I would go back again to drugs, and I was going here and there, but I was doing jobs. Yeah. Whatever he asked me to do, I would do, and I would do it really good. And he really just trusted me for that.
Right.
And he used to love. Every time we went somewhere, he would come on, do the machete deal, because I'm really good with these machetes. I can just get these damn machetes and do like samurai. Yeah. And he would make me do that in front of the other couples. He said, look at this guy. You got to see this guy with the machetes. And I was like his little public figure.
Right.
And I never thought that he would kill me. I really thought that there was that bond. So then I started living in the ollas because I was really screwed up and my mind was really screwed up. And sometimes he would just send me money and pay for my rooms there. Yeah. And sometimes he would call me to go do some type of job or organize something for, but then I would go back to the olla. And I was like his junkie, hitman, killer that he really trusted. Even though what I was, he trusted me.
So bizarre.
But he would never take me to the laboratories or wherever they were making the shipments or none of that crap. I guess he didn't even trust his mom on that.
Right. So yeah, and if he was from Cali, he would have never treated you. Buenaventura is ghettos. Like that's probably why he didn't hold your addiction against you.
Yeah, possibly not, but because he had beef for other people. As a matter of fact, his own brother, which is also a hitman. I'm sorry, he's not a hitman. He's a drug dealer. I think he used to be a hitman, but he was a drug dealer in his level. But his brother. Oh no, and a cousin of his that was really close to them also. This guy was stealing money from that's why he loved me so much also, because this guy was stealing money from the couple. He was underscrewing him, and I busted him. And I got him in front of him. I got him. I said, hey, this is stealing money from me. Oh, come on, you got to respect me and this and that. And even he told me that I had to respect his cousin.
Wow.
And I punched this guy in the stomach and I said, take your goddamn. I turned into a beast that day, I remember. And I ripped this guy's damn jeans down. And when I came down, the money came. Wow. He had money. And he got busted, man. And now everybody wanted to kill me because of that. Right. Even his family. But then everything turned into love again. And I don't know, it was just like a hell of a soap opera.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. But then he got more respect for me. Because if I was willing to do what I did for this cousin that could have just killed me, I mean, while I'm in one of these ollas, this guy will go and get me killed.
Yeah.
But then if the couple probably told him something like, if something happens to this guy, you're screwed.
Does this kind of culture, this is like 15 years ago, does this kind of culture exist today in Cali? Like bosses that are very on the low, but that send people to kill all the time, and hitmen. Are there hitmen like you were today in some olla, smoking basuco and thinking about the person that they just killed? Like, does that...
Yeah,
that still exists? I mean...
I'm sure it does happen. But right now, with everything that has happened, I think these capos are more like on underground. They're hidden. They're hidden. They don't go through all this crap anymore.
Right.
It's not
Like,
necessary.
are they less? It's violent.
Yeah, they're less violent. They let like the guerrilla and the
Right.
groups take care of all that crap.
Right. So do you think you think 2016 when they signed the guerrillas signed the peace treaty with the Colombian government, do you think that's when they became like the military side of the cartel?
Exactly.
And now the capos don't have to get their hands dirty at all.
Exactly.
They're
Now,
just
exactly.
they're just focused on their drug shipments.
Exactly. They
Okay.
just do the deals and,
Right.
and put the money and control here and there. But even
Right.
then, the majority of these guerrilla groups already are like capos. They're doing their own deals. And all these groups are doing their own deals. This Clan del Golfo, all these
Right.
different types of organizations, they're doing their own deals.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and they're just
Why
they're
are,
having alliance with other people.
Why are drug dealers even necessary anymore?
Maybe because of the genes, the genetic. Maybe because it's something
Well,
that
look,
they're there,
they're
but they are not necessary anymore.
As
a matter
the
of
drug
fact,
dealers are the guerrillas. So why do the guerrillas
Exactly.
need to sell to the drug dealers? I mean, I
Maybe-
guess because everybody's got routes and clients, and why not? But-
exactly. That's why.
Yeah,
But to be honest with you, I don't think there are that many drug dealers anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are drug dealers like crazy, but they're already in groups. They belong to groups.
They belong to
They belong
either
to
the
groups.
guerrillas or maybe
Yeah.
the paras,
Yes,
our
yes,
militaries.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
got it. So they were already part of these armed.
Yeah.
They're armed people. They're not kingpins. They're just part of the group.
And it's not
They
like
have a high
before
rank.
that you said, oh, Pachorrera,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
these
Pachorrera,
gentlemen of Cali.
yeah, the
mean-
Orejuela,
yeah.
the Pablo Escobar,
Kingpins.
yeah,
There really are no more Colombian kingpins.
Pirulito and all this
Yeah.
bullshit like they say in the soap opera.
Right. Yeah, there really are no more kingpins in Colombia. In Mexico, there's still a few.
Yeah,
that are
and there
becoming
might be, but they're really, I mean, nobody knows who they are.
Right.
Even if they're not important people.
Right.
In the military, important people in the government, who knows?
Right.
They've busted a few here and there.
Yeah.
They busted a few here and there.
Yeah. But they don't command these like huge army of killers as much anymore. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it seems like the killers.
No, yeah, it's not like that anymore. It's like everything is done in a different level now.
Yeah.
It's not like before where you had a drug dealer go driving through Cali with 3 Land Cruisers and back of them with machine guns and this and that, and they controlled here and there.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore because the majority of them have been killed, busted, jail.
Now it's either invisible guys or whole armies.
Exactly.
There's no middle ground.
Exactly.
Same in Mexico.
Exactly.
It's invisible guys working with whole literal.
That's the way it is.
Literal armies.
And there are these big armies that are handling that crap.
Yeah. Okay, so you worked for this guy for a hell of a long time. Can't believe you're not already dead from all the drugs you've done. All
exactly.
of the people that you've put in the ground. What happened? How did you finally split with this guy?
Okay, so we started doing a deal, and then he was doing some deal with the Maras in Honduras. First, he was going to meet some guy from Romania. He was gonna do some deal, and he was gonna do some shipments with this guy from Romania. I remember Romania because I was in prison in Ecuador with Romanian, and we said, "Hey, what are you, a vampire, Transylvania, and all that crap?"
Gypsy.
Yeah. So he was gonna this big important politician. This guy was involved with politics. I don't know who the hell this is, but he was important. As a matter of fact, I met him in Panama. So he was going to do some deal with that guy and also another deal with some people in Central America. So he told me he needed me to go to Panama with him to translate for the Romanian guy. That's what initially he told me that he wanted me to do. So yeah, I told him I would do that, this and that. As a matter of fact, I don't remember what happened. I don't remember why I had to sell my motorcycle. I had to sell my Dete, which was a badass motorcycle, Hitman motorcycle, like you'll probably show in the pictures. And I don't remember why I sold that motorcycle to get some of my paperwork so that I could travel, I think. And then we ended up in Panama. And then once we were in Panama, we met these guys from Honduras, from the Maras. Yeah, they sent some representatives to speak for them, because it's not like they come with tattoos and all that crap. And the Mara Salvatruchas are not like the ones in El Salvador that are all tattooed. The one in Honduras are less tattooed. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, they got also ones that are tattooed in that, but the ones in El Salvador are the ones that are really tattooed in their face and all that crap. But the ones in Honduras are like a little more discreet. So they sent some representatives, and then I ended up finding out that he was going to do a drug deal with them. And then he said that he needed some guy to go to Honduras and be there. In the meantime, that they made this deal, and he convinced me, this and that. So I remember he gave me a lot of money that day, and yeah, I don't know, but I bought a bunch of crap in Panama because everything's cheap over there for my girlfriend at that time, because I was with my wife. And then the next thing I knew is I ended up in Honduras. And I was the guarantee man over there. I was the guy.
Explain
because
what that is.
because how does that work? It's very simple. The capo goes and meets another capo in Panama, which is a neutral area, and they make the deal over there. And then once they make the deal over there, then these people from Central America, they send dollars to the capo from Colombia, and that money that is given to him, however they send it or give it to him, whatever, that money is to pay for the merchandise that is going to be made.
Yeah.
It's not like they're paying for 1,000 kilos that is already made. No. They're paying for 1,000 kilos that is going to be made.
Wow. Is that how that works?
Yeah, that's how that works.
So,
that's how, I mean, yeah, they do also buy merchandise from people that they have in stocks, but normally they order it. It's like, I want to get 100 t-shirts done, how much?
Yeah, it's like having a house built. Here's the money.
Exactly.
Is it the full payment, or do they just put a down payment?
No, normally it's like, normally they have their percentages. I don't know how that works, but what I do know is that it was like $2 million or something like that. It was good money.
Yeah.
And so allegedly they were going to make the merchandise while they're making the merchandise and everything. And then they're going to send everything in the lanchas and the speedboats to Central America, to Panama, to get to Honduras.
Yep.
Then I am over there as a guarantee.
You're being held as insurance.
Exactly. I'm insurance. If something happens to that money or the merchandise, then they cut my head off.
Right.
Point blank.
Right.
Now, when I get there and I meet this cartel guys from Honduras, these Maras, which is a little family cartel. I don't know if they work by chapters. I don't know how it works over there. They had just killed one of their brothers. The police just, over there when they're frisking you, they tell you to get on the floor, and you got to like allegedly lie down on the floor, put your guns to the side. They search you, and then they let you go. I don't know why they search you if you got guns on the side, but those guns have permits.
Yeah.
So anyways, they did that with one of their brothers, but then they shot him. They killed him. The cops were killers. So, and that guy, for some type of reason, was just like me. Blonde hair, green eyes, and that's it. Not the other brothers. Now, this is ironic. That's why I'm telling you this story. So once I started going there, on the first day that I was there, they had a confrontation with some cops. And I didn't have anything, no guns, no weapons, nothing. I was just the guy there, the insurance guy, the Colombian insurance guy. So then once that happened, I told the capo there, I told him, hey, man, I'm not going to be running around here with you guys, having these confrontations and not having a way to defend myself. So deme mi dotación. Give me my, I don't know how you would say that in English. Give me my equipment.
Gear, yeah.
Give me my gear, exactly. Give me my gear, because every soldier is entitled to some type of gear. Give me my damn gear. So he gave me my gear. My gear was 3 R15s, like you will see in those pictures. A 5.7 cop killer.
Yep.
You know which one that is?
57.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 5.7 cop killer with the little, well, you know what? It's in the picture also. And he gave me his personal Beretta, a gold Beretta that is also in one of the pictures you'll probably show. With extension, obviously.
Wow.
And they have shot to shot and ráfaga. I don't know how you say ráfaga in English.
I don't know.
Ráfaga, it's like you click it here and you can shoot one at a time, or you click it down and three come out at a time.
Yeah. The stock or something?
Yeah. I don't know how you would say it in English. In Spanish, you call it ráfaga. Tiro or ráfaga.
So how long did you spend in... So you're basically now
I'm there with them.
As
I'm
you're
like
waiting for the drugs to
yeah,
get
I'm like
made
another
and shipped
soldier.
up, you
So
start working with these.
exactly, I start
MS-13,
working with them exactly,
Yeah.
and I start having other confrontations with police, and they start seeing that this Colombian is a bad. You know, they used to tell me, "Oh, usted es como un guerrillero. You're like a guerrilla man," and I was very good at shooting and everything, and they liked it. So we started getting together. Then we started doing like brotherly things like that they would have done with their brothers. They always went crab hunting. They went crab hunting with these damn spears, and they taught me how to crab hunt. You would just see the little crab over there with one hand, and he said, "When you see the hand there, you just do it here." And boom, and we would just go crab hunting, and it was fun. And then whenever the military was coming to get him, because they were like in the Pablo Escobar days that the military was trying to get him, and they can't be caught with a Colombian, because if they're caught with a Colombian, then it's proof that
They're drug trafficking.
they're drug trafficking.
Wow.
So, these are really delicate.
Yeah.
So there were times where we had to go up to the mountains and either wait for them, and either if they come, we would have to just shoot our way through or die or whatever. But it was just, and I was always cool about that, and I was always ready for that. Now, they killed a lot of people. There were a lot of people that, I don't know, for some reasons, once in a while, we would be like in a little kind of finca, kind of like house like this. And once in a while, they would just bring some guy in and blah, blah, blah. I don't know what the hell happened with that guy. And then they would torture him and then kill him. And I was involved in a few of those. I mean, sometimes I was drinking and I wasn't going to be the guy that didn't do anything,
Right. How would they do it? How would they torture people?
I remember one guy. They had him tied up, and they had like a needle nose pliers, and they would just start like taking chunks from him, like
from
that.
His skin.
Yeah, like
oh my
like
god,
they would get you here and they could rip your damn thing off, or they would just take your nose, all that crap. So I remember there was one guy, the first guy they tortured. I was so drunk that day, and I don't know why I felt like a preacher that I felt a little sorry for after being a killer, I felt sorry for this guy. I don't know why. And at the same time, I wanted to prove a point, so I had a beer bottle, and I started with the beer bottle. I just started going like this, like smashing it into his head. But I smashed it so hard that it was not enough to break it, but it was enough to break his here. It was like going down, and I started doing that. And I don't know. That day I was really drunk, and I remember that the guy fell down, and I remember that I came. And I came to the guy and I started strangling him there in front of everybody. And I went like to his ear and I said, "Just say whatever the you have to say. They're going to kill you. Don't you understand?"
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why I did. I felt sorry for the guy because the guy looked like just one of the, like when you go to Mexico and you see these guys that they look like all humble, like somebody's father.
Right.
And I'm like, oh man, they're killing these guys. Who knows? I don't know.
Did they end up killing him or did they?
Yeah, of course. That guy got killed. And then once they finished torturing him, they sent him with the guy that cuts his head off. He's like the guy that's the doorman. I don't know.
Yeah.
The doorman, they liked him. He was famous for chopping heads off.
Wow.
And they said, "Me trae la cabeza." That's it. Bring me the head.
Wow.
And they would have to bring the head, and that's it. And they would just
cold.
get rid of him.
So
yeah, that was the first guy. Then another guy. One time we went to this guy was a real idiot. He was like one of these bums from the street, but he wasn't. Yeah, he was like a bum. All tattooed all over the place, and these people, these little cities like in Mexico are very jealous. I mean, you can't just go into in Honduras, but you got to be careful where you go in that city. If you go in that little town and they don't know who you are, like you said about Culiacan, that they got surveillance, and if you're not from there, they're gonna kill you because they think you're spying or something. So we were at the gas station putting gas, and this damn idiot comes and asks for money. So the other brother, which is a killer of hell, he's driving, but he doesn't look like a killer, tells him, "No, that we don't have any money and this and that," because he hates crackheads. They hate crackheads. And the guy tells him, "The reason I ask for money is so that I don't have to steal it." Oh man, that really offended that guy.
They really hate thieves.
Yeah,
too.
because he's like saying, "Well, if you don't give me money, I'm going to rob you."
Yeah.
And he didn't know who the hell these people were.
Right.
So they tranquilo, don't worry, I'm gonna let you have some money. Just relax. I'm gonna drive you down at the same time, like to drive him out of there. As a matter of fact, I even thought he was just gonna drive him out of the hood and tell him never to come back. So we started driving him out, and then I was in the back again with the guy, and I don't know what was going through my mind. Because I've been a cold-blooded killer, but in that moment, I don't know why I felt like shame for these guys. And I told the guy in the back, it was a pickup truck. I was back there with him, and told him, look, man, just as soon as they let you go, just get the hell out of here and don't come back here, man. What do you want to die? Don't be so stupid. I don't know. And if they probably heard me with saying some crowd like that, they would probably kill me. They wouldn't like that shit. I imagine. So then they took a little alley turn. That's it. They told the guy to get down, walk that way, and then the guy just took his gun, pop, 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 like 3 shots in the heart. Boom. And the guy started going like this. As soon as he did that, I had no choice. So I just took my 5.7, which that destroys everything. And I just, boom, right in the head. As he was falling down, I got him in the head. And then the 2 guys that were with us that are from their clique, from their little cartel, they were very young guys, like that guy over there. They were very young guys, and they had R15s. And they just came over, and they didn't shoot them. They just left. And then I remember that day that they got in trouble because of that. They got in trouble because they didn't.
Government or their
No, with
boss?
them, from their bosses. The guy that was there.
For not shooting them.
For not shooting. They say, how could you do that? How could the Colombian help me kill the guy and you guys didn't do anything?
So this is MS-13. So a lot of the propaganda that comes out of the U.S. about how brutal MS-13 is, a lot of it is true.
Yeah, they are true.
Okay.
In that city, anybody that gets caught in those cities, man, they just disappear. I didn't find out a lot about it because they did it. I mean, I would just hear them say that they had gotten rid of some guys back, and the boss would give the go ahead. I was normally with the top guys. I didn't have to do that crap.
Right.
I was there celebrating and this and that.
Okay. How long were you there?
So I was there for approximately 3 months. And then after those 3 months that we were really tight, then we found out that my boss here had took their money. He stole the damn money. I don't know if I really can't say he stole it. Maybe something went wrong with the shipment. They got busted, but they weren't going to get $2 million back. That's it. You're screwed. Boom. And maybe since I had been a drug addict and this and that, and sometimes these drug dealers, they'll sacrifice even family if they have to.
Wow.
And in this case, it was like, when you play chess and you got to sacrifice that piece.
Yeah.
He had to sacrifice me, and they were going to sacrifice me. So I didn't know that. I didn't know that they knew already that had happened, but then finally they broke the news down to me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so that's my ass, and they'll kill me at any moment." And
Were you ready for it?
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
were you pissed at your boss for them over?
Actually, with everything he had done for me in his life, yeah, there was a little hatred there, but at the same time, I was like, what the heck, it's part of the game. It's part of the game. Just like it was this guy, now it's me. I have no shit. And one day it will be him.
Yeah.
So all right, what the heck? So I was, I said, what the heck, whatever. So they told me, if you last 3 months of war with us and you don't get killed, we'll send you back home. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. But I knew they weren't going to do that. I said, they're going to shoot they're going to use me and then they'll just kill me. Because they can't have the police catch them with a Colombian.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like really odd.
Wow.
But can you believe that from so much violence and so much shit, people do have a little piece of humanity inside of them. And all those 3 months that we had spent together and done the crab deal, and maybe I was sleeping in their brothers, the brother that they killed. I was sleeping in that room.
Wow.
And I had met already their mother, their hideouts. I mean, I knew a lot of crap.
So did you go to war? Who were they warring against?
Against the government. So yeah, we were in that war. We had some confrontations here and there. Thank God nothing happened to me. And then 2 months later, they came up to me and said, look, we're sorry, but you got to go because if they catch us with you, we're screwed. So tomorrow, the same guy that had picked me up at the airport, they told me that he was going to take me back and send me to Colombia. I didn't believe that shit. I said, they're probably going to take me on the side of the road. And
to the field, yeah.
Yeah, and feel me. And I don't know. The only thing I can say is that the glory of God or the mercy of God, they just came in and they That guy came in the morning. Tears want to come out of it from, I don't know if it's from happiness or gratefulness, but these guys just came out of nowhere and they took me to the damn airport. They bought my plane ticket and they sent me home, man. And they did make me promise that they would come to Colombia and that I would have to show them how to find my boss to kill him.
Wow.
And of course I said, yes, I would do it. I was going to say no. And they sent me home, man. And,
Wow.
And man, I'm telling you this, and the only proof I have of that is those little pictures you see me there with the maras and the machine guns. That's the only proof I have. And
people don't believe this story. They're not going to believe anything.
Yeah, people won't. Yeah, and probably people will say, that's a bunch of bullshit, this and that. But it's the grace of God that has saved me. So why? I have no idea.
Was that the God saved you 3 times at least? 3 big pivotal things. Probably more than that.
So many times.
From 65 years in prison to being murdered by Honduran MS-13 members, it's incredible.
And the life that I have here, for example, here, this tattoo says, trust no one but God. Because, man, you can't trust no one in that game. Here I had the name of one of that boss. I had tattooed his name one day I was doing a tattoo and he told me, hey, write my name on there and let's see if you'll do it. I said, yeah, no problem. What are you going to give me? I'll give you 5 million pesos, like 1,000 or $1,500. It was bullshit, but I tattooed it because I knew I could always erase it. And basically that's kind of the life that I have lived. Donde quiera que la muerte me sorprenda, bienvenida sea. Wherever death might surprise me, welcome it. I will welcome it. And
so, when did you start getting clean? Was that the moment that you realized?
Yeah. Then I came back. Yeah, I had to be clean over there because they would kill me over there. And even then, there were some of them that would take some coke here and there. And one of their uncles sold coke. He was like a micro trafficker. Right. And he would tell us on the side, and we would, whenever we were celebrating something, we would take little hits here and there, which was not good, but we did it. So that's another survival story there because they would just shoot you. They don't like that shit in Honduras. For you to use your own merchandise, they don't like that crap. So once I came here, then I confronted my boss. We met somewhere and I said, hey man, you had promised me 20 million and this and all this bullshit and my motorcycle that I had to sell and this and that. So he got me a motorcycle. He gave me some money just like to get me away. And I don't know, he was having some problems himself. They were after his ass. So they had frozen his accounts. He had no money. He was struggling getting money here and there with what he could get. He was going through some other issues. My issue was just like, to try to get my wife back, to see what would happen. But then I started falling back into drugs and all that crap again. And then I started working with some of the hitmen again that were left over and doing stupidities here and there and consuming drugs again. And then that's when all that started happening. Then my family came, my wife and my daughter came back from Italy. And then I was in the streets of Terron. I was just, I went really low. I went really low.
That was your rock bottom?
That was my rock bottom. And then I started working like in these, drug houses. I was the doorman, but I was consuming. Then I would be the doorman. And then I would go here and there.
You were like one of those kids today.
Exactly.
In those Ojas that we saw. Clearly, they're clearly involved with the drug dealing, but they're also on drugs.
Yeah, they're also on drugs. I was just part of the game and doing here, helping pack up the drugs, sending it here. Yeah. And then it became a routine. And then at night when I didn't have more drugs and I didn't have a gun anymore, I didn't have a motorcycle, I didn't have a knife to go and, you could get a knife, but I was just not in the best looking way. I couldn't just fit into society to go and rob someone and then come back and do drugs like a normal druggie would do.
Yeah.
No, I was already beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
So I started recycling, like these people that recycle here. So I would be the doorman. I would sell drugs there and do what I had to do. But then when the other guy came in on the shift, and I would always make sure I got the day shift. Then at night shift, then I would just go out and I would just start recycling, because people in Colombia, man, they recycle their asses off. They recycle everything, plastic, but it's really low, man. And a lot of people would be embarrassed to say that, and to say that they have it. But I'm not embarrassed. I'm proud, because look at me today. You know, I'm here. I'm alive, because of the mercy of God. Because I was able to put myself back on my feet.
What was the year that you last? How much time do you have, as they say in the program? What was the last time you
being
used?
clean? Yeah, I actually right now it's I don't think it's that much, but people say it is a lot. I've been clean for approximately 6 years now.
Okay.
I'm going on 6 years.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've already been to drug houses and nothing. It doesn't, I mean, before it was just a circle. I couldn't, because I had already been through so many processes.
Right.
But it always, but I know that beast is there.
Yeah.
And I got to be careful with that beast. So I will not drink wine.
Good.
I will not drink anything. And anybody that offers me beers or wine or drugs, knowing what I go through, then they're my instant enemy, because they want to see me back that way.
Right.
But I'm cool now. Now you could smoke a joint with me there, and I won't tell you to.
Not after these stories.
Nah,
man.
no,
Not
I
after
won't
these
ask you
stories,
for that.
too.
I mean, I had so much drugs in my life that I think it's still in my brain. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I still got a full tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep a full tank.
I guess the last kind of couple of questions is like, I mean, why do you not worry? Because we've talked to, a lot of people that have worked as, contract killers, sicarios and stuff like that. And especially in Mexico, they're like, we can't, you have to change our voice. We have to cover up on all that. Why are you not scared? Why are you not scared?
Yeah, I'm not scared because, first of all, I never did think, I killed people. And I know that at one point I can just be eating a hamburger and somebody can say, hey, that guy killed my dad, and they'll come and shoot me in my head, and there's nothing I can do about it. And that can happen at any time. That's why donde quiera que la muerte me sorprenda, bienvenida sea. I have no choice. I can't change the past. And I can't live with the past as something that's going to create fear and have me hiding and start using drugs so that, because maybe they might kill me. No, I can't go. I just got to live a normal life. That's it. I'm an English teacher. I teach English. I try to give back to humanity everything that I took away. I know the consequences of what could happen to me. But when I was a hitman, when I was in the drug business, when I was in the gangs, I was always a straight person. I never screwed anybody over.
Right.
And the majority of the people that got killed were people that deserved it. I never did harm to somebody that didn't deserve it.
Right.
And I'm not God to judge who deserved it or not, but these people were bad people. I remember one guy that he was just going to kill my friend. And I remember he went one day and shot my friend's house up, and he almost shot his little son, man, a little kid about that size. And he told him that if he didn't, I don't know what, that he was going to kill him the next day. And this guy was a killer. He would go the next day and kill him. So what did we have to do? The guy had to hire me as, even though I was his friend, and I had to go, and luckily I got the guy the next day getting on his motorcycle, possibly going to go kill my friend. And I got him right there on that motorcycle, and I put it I put the gun right here in this little hole. You see this little socket you have here?
Yeah.
You just put that in that little socket, and you point it down, and you just shoot 3 times, and that's just gonna tear up the arteries, the heart, if he doesn't die there, then he's not
God
human.
Strike you down.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna die right there.
Wow.
And that's it, because and.
Do you worry about, as a Christian?
Like that guy, I worry. Well, no, I'm sorry, I don't worry. But that guy, his son now. I've heard that he's...
Do you know, does he know, does his son know that you killed his father?
His son doesn't know that I killed his father, but his mother was really good friends. His mother was best friends with my friends. his mother was best friends with my friend's wife, and now they have separated. And he did a lot of shit to her, so she hates him. So who knows? At one point they're going to drink beers, and they will find out. And who knows? At one point she's going to drink beers, and he's going to tell her. And at one point they can find me, and her son will say, "Hey, I'm going to go kill the guy that killed my dad." And if he does it, that's cool, you know.
But do you feel like, does part of you feel like you deserve it, even though you don't want it to come? Like if it comes, you say, well, that's what
that's what
happens.
That's what I planted, and that's what I will solve.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also know that the Lord is mightier than all of that, and it's his decision.
Right.
So I'm not worried about it. I've done. I'm trying to do my good deeds. I right now I teach English. That's what I do. I teach English. I try to teach immigrants.
You're a very busy English teacher.
Yeah. I teach.
So if anybody watching this episode needs an English teacher.
Yeah, I teach. I'm an online teacher, so people don't see my tattoos and all that crap. They don't know my life. I just teach and teach.
No, that's what I was saying at the top of the episode. It's so weird because like you're such a nice guy, you're such a cool guy. We let you around all of our like expensive equipment. You haven't run off with it yet. It's like but like you've got this pretty bloody, gory, very Colombian story. You know?
And that's all my past. I wouldn't like right now. What would I earn if I like stole all your things or drowned you guys in the pool and just took off in your car? I mean, what the heck am I gonna accomplish there? You know, just more karma, and then that beast is gonna wake up because karma will come up. Then I'll have to go and do drugs to numb myself with what I just did. No, man, that's not even in my.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing the interview with no mask, because I don't give a care.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn. Yeah. Whatever the Lord's will for this interview, for people that will see this interview and think about whatever it is, it is.
Well, I certainly appreciate it, and it's amazing, and I consider you a friend, and we're very grateful for you. And I hope you're around for a lot longer, you know. Just keep doing good.
Yeah,
you know
I will.
I mean?
And if some rich guy, a millionaire, some guy just looks at this app and say, "Hey, you know, I want to send this guy $50,000 so that he can just redo his life with his family, and what the heck, let's give him a chance." Hey, it won't bother me.
Yeah, there you go. I got his info. I'm not sure that we have that kind of fan base, but you never know. 50,000 pesos, baby.
Yeah, and if somebody wants to just, shoot a birdie over, hey, that's welcome to. Everything's cool, whatever. Even if you were able to watch the episode and enjoy it and like, damn, whatever negative, positive feedback, whatever it is, it is.
I think it gets sober is the point. If you could do it, they can do it.
For sure.
Know what I mean?
You can do it.
Like you, whatever drug addict is watching this, they have not done as much bad stuff as you.
Yeah.
That's pretty much a guarantee.
Yeah.
So, and you turned yourself around. So
exactly.
Congrats to you, sir.
Yeah. And if anybody is also
having dinner with your sweet wife.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And if anybody is watching also this episode and thinks that they're doing a hell of a job because they're in the game and they're getting that money, trust me, sooner or later, everything will go to hell. Either you'll end up in a cemetery, dead, in jail, in prison. I'm telling you the story because God just, he had mercy on me, and I can tell the story, okay? And like I have here in this last tattoo here, it says, "De lo vil y lo menospreciado me sacó Dios." It's like from the scum of the earth is where the Lord takes us and just changes us. Because I have a good heart. I mean, now
you do.
I mean, I watch movies and I cry, I watch movies here and there and it hurts me. And before I didn't have that type of heart.
Yeah.
So something is okay.
Yeah.
Something has been okay.
Alex, I appreciate you, sir. That was awesome. That was amazing. Thanks again, guys. All right, guys, switch over to the Patreon, and we're going to be doing more content with Alex. Take care.
Take care.